Hey, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening, y'all? It's me coming back at you again with another live stream vid. So it is 7:42 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So those live in the East Coast, it's 11:42 p.m. Those live in the Midwest, it is 10:42 p.m. Or in the Southeast or the Central, it is 10:42 p.m. I think the Southeast goes on Eastern Standard Time. I could be wrong, but anyhow, those live in the UK, I would assume you're 7 hours ahead of me. So if I do the math correctly, I'm not good at numbers, by memory for the most part. It's safe to assume that it's roughly about 4 or 5, maybe 6 a.m. over there by now. I could be wrong. Could be later than that. I don't know. Maybe 3 a.m., 4 a.m. But anyhow, what's up, Ralph on Real? So anyhow, guys, I thought I want to hop on here and give my we'll do a little watch along with the Emmanuel NAVARATTE and Gonzalez fight. Right now the undercard is happening on ESPN Plus. So definitely looking at that right now. But before I do, what's up, Percy? What up, bro? Dillon, chilling. So before I do, let me just go down a few things. Bring up some news and updates. First things first, Ryan Garcia. I forgot to title his situation in my live stream, but anyhow, Ryan Garcia. What do what is it there to say about Ryan Garcia? I think he's pulled out of another fight. All right. This time he pulled out against Jojo Diaz. Before that, he pulled out a fight against Javier Fortuna. He was citing mental mental challenges, or cerebral challenges, as you want to call it. And the next you know, when he said that he needed to take time off to address his mental instability, he spotted somewhere having a vacation. So I don't know what that's about, but I really don't know what's going on, Ryan Garcia. Supposedly he suffered a hand injury during middle of training camp. He's supposed to go up against Jojo Diaz. But let me just give you my insight on what's going on with Ryan Garcia. I'm just only speculating. I don't want to get sued. Just only speculating. So I think after that Luke Campbell fight, I think Ryan Garcia may have suffered something such as a mental block. What I mean by that is we all know that Ryan Garcia was a high level prospect going into that fight, and the expectations were increasing for the young man. He had his confidence were all time high. He's saying he was calling everybody out, the yin yang, like Gervonta Davis to the Devin Haney's to the Tevin Farmers. You name it. He was calling out everybody, and that's what a young prospect should do, just to get his name out there, right? So anyhow, the Luke Campbell fight comes along, and a lot of people expected him to steamroll Luke Campbell, given the fact that Luke Campbell was definitely been through a lot of wars, especially a lot of tough fights, wars early in his career, and you feel that he's there for the taking, and that's what the odd makers made it out to be. When the fight was announced and made, so we all know in that fight, Ryan Garcia got dropped very hard by a left overhand left by Luke Campbell. I think it was in the second round, maybe the first round. I don't remember, but he got dropped very hard, and that's what happens when you have your chin out up in the air and you don't have any defense to protect that cross for coming in. So obviously that's his fault. He didn't have his right glove to block that shot or period. But anyhow, Ryan Garcia went down very hard. He went down so hard to the point that you thought he would have been knocked out. Okay, he got up. He was. He recovered from that. Great. But to be fair though, Ryan Garcia took a lot of big shots in that fight against Luke Campbell, and he was getting rocked. And to be fair, Luke Campbell's not known to be a big puncher. Not saying he can't punch, but he's not known to stun guys, because Luke Campbell is just a boxer, safety first type of fighter. That's what's been his style. He's a southpaw. But anyhow, long story short, Ryan Garcia did get the stoppage win in the 7th round. And let's not get it twisted. That was probably the most difficult fight he ever had in his career. And that was a step-up fight. He needed that. But ever since then, I think Ryan Garcia's confidence is taking a hit, because he knew that he was in a very difficult fight, that he shouldn't have been in a war in against a guy like Luke Campbell. he's probably looked at that and said, you know what, I'm not sure if I'm up for this, you know? And it's okay if you feel that you're not up for the sport, then maybe you need to get out. You know, I'm not saying Ryan Garcia should get out, but his actions as of late, he's been very reluctant to call out other fighters ever since that fight. He's been dancing around opponents, like when fights are getting made. He's been dancing around Javier Fortuna. He cited mental instability challenges. Then we find out he's taking a vacation somewhere, like days after pulling out of the Javier Fortuna fight. And then next year, now, supposedly Devin Haney was supposed to be Devin Haney's mandatory. I don't know what happened to that situation. So supposedly he kind of backed away from that fight. I'm not sure they were close to making a fight, but there was talks about it. But him and his team decided to kind of drift away from that. And now they made the fight with Jojo Diaz, who's a naturally smaller guy. So that should be no problem for Ryan to take. It's a good stylistic matchup for him. Is a winnable fight. But all of a sudden they pull out of this one because of a hand injury. So I'm not saying that he's faking an injury, but it does call into question given the fact that he pulled out of the Javier Fortuna fight citing mental issue blocks, and he's going to take time away from the sport of boxing. Next year, weeks later, he's out there having a vacation in, I think, somewhere in another country. I don't know. He's there vacationing with his dime piece, wherever you want to call her that. But other than that, I don't know, man. I think this guy's confidence is not where it should be. I think after that Luke Campbell fight, he suffered some bit of a mental block as far as finding that courage. And not saying he doesn't have courage, but finding the confidence in his ability to win fights. So you have to understand, boxing is not always about being being physically gifted or stronger and more skillful than your opponent. For the most part, you have to have you have to have a very, very strong mental capacity to compete, not just in boxing, but in sport in general. So if you don't have that, then you don't matter. All the skill and all the power in the world can't save you in a fight. Oh boy, Delgado's putting a beating on Menendez. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, Menendez coming back. Oh, dude, Delgado's keeping himself open. Yeah, he got caught right there with a left hook, trying to rush in for the kill. All right, yeah. See, that's the thing about it, dude. When you try to take your opponent out, you need to keep your distance. Oh, Delgado don't care though. See, he doesn't care. He don't mind getting hit, but things he got clipped with that left by Menendez, and yeah, the round's about to come to an end. I think he punched himself out. All right, cool. The fight's over, but that was the end of the round. Whoa. Wow, that was the last round, and then Delgado put down Menendez very hard. I thought he knocked him out with the left hook, but Menendez got back and tried to battle back. It is what it is. But anyways, back to Ryan Garcia. Look, I hope he gets better, whatever the situation is. If it is indeed a hand injury that's genuine, then fine. Take care of that. Get that looked at and get that healed, because at the end of the day, you don't want a fighter going into a fight being hurt and having one of his best weapons being neutralized. But I mean, being neutralized. So anyhow, this is some other news here. I'm going to share my screen right here. I'm going to bring this up. I saw something interesting on Instagram or social media today, right? All right. So let's look at Anthony Joshua's Instagram page. You see that right there? See that background? Do you guys know who that guy is in the background, or was, I should say? For those in the UK, that's Nipsey Hussle. All right. Rest in peace to Nipsey. He's a legend in the West Coast rap scene. But to be fair though, he was pretty known in the in the entire states as well. But Nipsey, if you guys don't know the story, Nipsey was killed about a couple years ago on in LA. He was killed next to a shop that he used to own, a clothing store, which the owner that I know. And I think it was over a dispute, and some dude came in, some knucklehead came in and shot him and killed him. All right, in front of his family, not in front of his family, but in front of his friends. So Anthony Joshua is right here, and he's on Slauson Avenue, and that's a street that Nipsey got killed. It was on Slauson and Crenshaw. I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I'm gonna educate you on this. Back in the day, when I was growing up, when I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s, you do not want to go nowhere near Crenshaw and Slauson during that time, okay? Because it was overran by a lot of Crip gangs over there. I think it was the Rolling 60s that's to be around there, but I don't know. But anyways, I forgot. But anyhow, to be fair, as time has gone by and as things have cleaned up over the years, Slauson and Crenshaw is not as bad as it used to be. So things have gotten better over there. I'm not saying it's paradise in that area, but it's a lot better than it was. It was a lot better than it is today than it was many years ago when I was growing up. So you wouldn't dare set foot on Crenshaw and Slauson unless if you grew up in that area, if the guys know you, like the gangs, if they knew who you are, they wouldn't fuck with you. But anyhow, long story short, it's surprising that Anthony Joshua is in the gutter. he went over there. So he's over here on Crenshaw and Slauson. What in the hell? Hey, but I gotta get my props, man. Regardless of all the money and fame that you have in the world, particularly in Europe and the UK, yeah, you want to go into the hood, man, for a change. You know what I'm saying? Study other cultures. So I respect that at Anthony Joshua. I really, really, really do. In fact, after the Andrew Usyk loss, I think he went to Rutgers Court in New York, I believe. I know he was playing basketball with some of the guys over there, but I'm not sure if that was the Rutgers, but I have to go back and check. But yeah, man, he's over there on Slauson and Crenshaw. But I know he posted this today, but I'm not sure he was there today, maybe. But yeah, man, he's over here in LA and Crenshaw and Slauson. Jesus Christ. But it is what it is, man. Oh, dude. Yeah, I'm still looking at the guys in the chat. Yeah, Percy, Nipsey. Yep. What up, Terrence? That guy. What's happening, bro? I know you're a UK guy. Yeah, Crips, man. Yeah, you're right, Dan. They still bang in LA, though. Yeah, the Crips are still around there. Not saying they didn't go away, but what I'm saying is if you were hanging around, in the 80s, because obviously I was born in the 80s, right? In the late mid 80s up to the early 90s, in some cases, maybe the mid 90s or the late 90s. You couldn't set foot on Crenshaw and Slauson. I'm sorry. You couldn't just walk there freely or even drive there, by that matter. If you want to drive there, you better get your ass out of there real quickly, because back then the Crips were rampant in that area to the point that they wouldn't allow anybody to just walk there freely if thus they knew you. Okay, that's how it was back then. So to be fair, it's cleaned up over the years. A lot of guys been taken off the streets, or some of the guys or people that kind of was running rampant in those neighborhoods, they all moved out. So they all moved to the a place called the Inland Empire, which is usually like, the Inland Empire, places like San Bernardino and Corona, where it's low income and all that. They kind of moved over there, and as a result of that, the crime rate's gone up over the years in those areas. So and that's all due to the fact that the cost of living in LA, particularly particularly in the high rise and the high middle class neighborhoods like where I live, the prices have gone up. It's becoming very impossible for people to afford rent or mortgages, you name it. So anyhow, again, going back to this, man, this dude's over there in Crenshaw and Slauson today. Wow. Hey, again, I got to give shout out to Anthony Joshua. Despite all the money and fame he has, he doesn't mind going into the urban neighborhoods and and learn some things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he just wants to explore. So I can't knock him for that. So yeah, man. Yeah, Terrence says that Nipsey was one of the most respected modern day hip hop artists. It's real hard to get love like what compared to what's out there today. Yeah, exactly, man. He was very respected. He was a cool cat. And I never met the guy, but I do know his friend who owned the shop that he entrusted on Crenshaw and Slauson. In fact, when my old jobs, I was a channel manager, and I was one of the guys who was overseeing his accounts because they were selling wireless products there, like mobile phone services. And his buddy was one of the authorized vendor agents that I helped manage to set up an account so they can help sell the product. So I would do my visits to make sure everything's okay, their operations run smoothly. But yeah, they're good peoples, man. They're good people. So yeah, luckily I wasn't there that day when it happened, but it, with Nipsey had gotten shot and killed. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. You have a young brother who's trying to do something positive for his life and his family. By the way, he left behind Laura London, who's a well-known actress. That was his lady. They had like 2 kids or a kid together. Laura London's is a well-respected actress in the entertainment business. So yeah, it is what it is, man. But anyways, I just wanted to point that out, man. And Percy said, yeah, I was born in 75 and they were banging back in the 70s. Raymond Lee Washington started the Crip game. And Crips stood for Community Revolutionary Inner City Park Services. Yeah, that's what it stood for. And it's fact, though, I think it was Raymond Lee Washington and Stanley Tookie Williams who were the co-founders of the Crip organization, right? And it's sad, too, because when Stanley Tookie Williams was executed, right, before his execution, a lot of these Crip members were interviewed about him, and they didn't know who he was. And I'm like, what? So I'm thinking to myself, then why the fuck did you become a Crip then if you don't know who the founder of the Crip was? How did you not know who Stanley Tookie Williams was? The guy that founded your organization. See, yeah, man, it's sad that it's been the Crip gang has became what it became. And to be fair, the Blood gangs were started that way too. They were started as as a neighborhood like a urban police police organization that was protecting their neighborhoods for against outsiders, as you want to call it. Not exactly black on black, but it was just to combat like the injustices that was happening in the urban communities amongst the police officers back then, where there was not much oversight on the police activities in the urban communities. But anyways, yeah, that's actually a good point there, man. But yeah, I want to just show this picture one more time before I move on to something else, man. yeah. Shout out to AJ for going to Crenshaw and Slauson today, man. All right. Okay. I'll go ahead and stop my screen share here. We'll stop doing that. Percy said that, yo, Brown gone. What's happening, man? He says that Eddie Griffin's comedy special on Crips and Bloods was way too funny for me. You know what, man? I never saw that. I have to go check that out. I've never seen that at all. But yeah, Eddie Griffin is one of the most underrated comedians of all time, man. It's sad that he doesn't get that much recognition as when he first came onto the scene, yeah, he was everywhere. But as time goes by, that's the thing about the Hollywood, man. Until a point that you're no longer a commodity, they just move on to something else, to someone else, I should say. Not saying that's a bad thing because everyone needs a chance at the spotlight, but Eddie's okay. He's still doing his thing. He's still doing his projects, making money, so he can't knock him for that. So right now, NAVARATTE versus they're just doing a replay of Diaz versus NAVARATTE's last fight. Yeah, that was a brutal fight for Diaz, man. He took a lot of punishment in that fight against NAVARATTE. To be fair, he hurt NAVARATTE several times in that fight, so it wasn't easy for NAVARATTE. Yeah, Percy said that yeah, they were modeled after the Black Panthers, but poverty, lack of jobs, and drugs turned into a gang. Yeah, it's just that they got desperate and they needed funding somewhere. So yeah, the drugs, lack of jobs, and poverty, and yeah, they decided to terrorize their own neighborhood just to get some type of respect. I don't know, and I think that's not cool. In fact, when I was growing up, I used to, I knew a couple guys who were in the blood gangs over in Inglewood, Piru, or IPG. Right. So I could tell you, I asked these couple of these cats too, and I don't talk to them anymore. I lost a lot of contact with them. I asked them when I was growing up in high school, why did you become a blood? And know what they say? They respond like, are you trying to get smart? I'm like, no, I'm asking you a question. Why did you become a blood? I just want to know. I'm just curious. And they can't answer that question. And I could tell you why they became blood or if you became a Crip, because you want to be respected in the neighborhood. Because that's all you were accustomed to while growing up, and that's all you know. So by the time you get older, what is good is that it's going to do for the most part of your life? It doesn't do shit. And sadly, a family member, he finally started to get it. And I told him this a long time ago. It's like, dude, you keep fucking around with this game banging shit, dude. You're gonna lose a lot of years of your young life. And he did. He lost majority of it. Yes, he got some of it back because he had to learn things the hard way. But still, all that game banging shit ain't worth it, dude. It's not. It doesn't. I mean, all you do is gonna get some respect on the street. That's it. But where's that gonna take you for the rest of your life? What, be in jail? Is that all you mean? Is that the respect that you want? Be in jail for a rap sheet for murder? You may never get out. Theft. It's just, I don't know, man. It just, some of these cats that get involved in these gangs, they don't even know why they became Bloods. They don't even know why they became Crips. They don't even know why they joined the mafia. I mean, for the most part, the mafia are more organized, so you make money in the mafia, in an organized mob. But yeah, it's funny, bro, because Ron Gon says it's funny, bro, because he deserves that, damn, but he was never a kiss ass, or he did not submit in it. Yeah, I mean, look, Eddie is his own man, and he never really wanted to do things that he wanted. He didn't do things that he didn't want to. He was asked to do. So it's kind of like Dave Chappelle when he gave an interview about this on two separate occasions. One with Oprah Winfrey and another with a former show. It was on A&E. I think it was on A&E many years ago, called Inside the Actor Studio. At the time, Bradley Cooper was one of the participants of that show before he became a big star that he is now. So anyhow, David Chappelle kind of mentioned that there was a lot of things that they were trying to get him to do on several projects that he refused to do. And they were really, really like persuading him to do it. And he was like, man, I can't do this. So sometimes you got to say no. I mean, I know it's rewarding if you do things that, Hollywood executives want you to do, but sometimes if you're not comfortable with it, you have to take a stand. So I don't knock Eddie for it. I don't even knock, especially I don't knock Dave Chappelle for it. So it is what it is. Anyways, on to some other stuff. Ralph Unreal asked me, do I think AJ can win the rematch? You know what? Let me get into that. That is actually my next thing I want to discuss while I watch, the NAVARATTE fights coming up soon. So against Gonzalez, that's definitely going to be a slugfest because, at NAVARATTE, every one of his fights are a slugfest. But can he win the rematch? He definitely has a puncher's chance. But I'm going to just be honest, and I'm going to stay, I'm going to stay firm on my belief on this one. I just don't see Anthony Joshua win that rematch. I don't see it going any different way. And the reason why I say that is because this is not a guy who's going to be undisciplined, who's going to be eating, fries, burgers, pizzas, candy bars, chips during training camp. No, Alexander Usyk is a beast. He's a different type of fighter, okay? And the way Joshua got beat that night, he just got picked apart systematically. It's like, it was not like, I mean, yes, he hit Usyk with some good shots here and there, but the problem is that Usyk just took him out of his game and he neutralized him in every aspect. So, and he almost got stopped at the end of the fight. So, and the style matchup is totally bad for Joshua. Totally bad. In fact, Eddie Hearn even alluded to this after the fight, that they were thinking about dropping that belt before taking the fight. But hey, all credit to for Joshua for taking the fight. But still, though, and all credit for him to taking the rematch as well. Even though I feel that he shouldn't do it, but he is within his legal right to do it because he has the rematch clause. Can he win it? He definitely has a puncher's chance to do it, but technically, no. No, he's not going to win. He's not going to win a boxing match against Usyk. I know someone argued that the only way he could beat Usyk is to swarming like Deontay, like Tyson Fury swarmed Deontay Wilder. No. First of all, Usyk is a more elusive fighter than Deontay Wilder. He's not a stationary target. So he's going to move. He's going to box. He's going to move his head. He's going to give you angles. He's going to move his feet. His defense is too good. So if Joshua tried that tactic against Usyk, I'm telling you that right now, it's going to be a very short night for him. He may get stopped. In fact, I think the rumor mill is, I don't know if this is true, but Eddie Hearn was asked about this, and I think in the post-fight press conference, I think he was asked, "What did you tell AJ in the locker room after the fight?" He was like, "Well, I mean, I told him he wasn't aggressive enough. He should have been more aggressive, And AJ told me, he's like, look, if I was extra aggressive, I would got caught. I would have been put. I would have been hurt. And that's exactly what I've been telling people. The reason why AJ is not going to be aggressive anymore, because every time he's been aggressive, he gets hit, he gets stung. I mean, he gets hurt very badly to the point he doesn't recover very well. His engine is not that good. So he doesn't want to risk it anymore. I mean, he's not that type of fighter anymore that he's going to go for the kill or the killer instinct, as you want to call it. He's made a lot of money. He's filthy rich. So why does he need to risk his body any further? I know, some people are not going to like what I say, but that's just his personality right there. And it goes back to the fact that his mental capacity in the sport of boxing is dwindling. And what I mean by that is that I don't think he really cares about, I'm not saying he doesn't care about belts, but he doesn't really care to some extent what people got to say anymore. He's like, fuck it, man. I made a lot of money. People still come to see me fight. I don't care, man. I'm not going to go in there and go for the kill just because you guys want me to. You guys are not in the ring. I'm taking punches in the head, not you. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, AJ has to understand that fans are the reason why he is rich. They pay good money for him to deliver the knockouts. If he can't deliver that, then his draw power may decline. That's what happened to Floyd Mayweather. So the only way Floyd Mayweather can make up for that is that being a controversial figure. So yeah, I just don't see that rematch going any differently. Yes, AJ can make adjustments, but who's to say that Alexander Usyk is not going to make adjustments? Because he was preparing for AJ who's going to try to swarm him, but he didn't get that type of fight. So that's why he said that this fight was a little bit easier than he thought. So we'll see. I implore AJ not to do it. Don't use those bully tactics because he will get knocked out early if he does against Usyk. I'm just being honest. Again, I don't think he should take it, but he is within his legal right. Chicago and the rest of the Midwest, I heard, is getting worse. Heck, you even have street gangs being on the side of small business owners to fend off militias and mobs. Yeah, Chicago is very bad. I mean, that's why they call Chirac, because Chicago has averages more murders and homicides than the state of Iraq. That's how bad Chicago is. And I don't want to set foot there, especially Southside Chicago. Let me see. Steven, what's up, Steven? Steven's 4722 said, yeah, these guys go to jail for street cred and get out 25 years later, and no one on the street even cares about them. Yeah, exactly. No one gives a fuck about you. Nobody doesn't even remember who you are. So you're old as fuck. You got no money. You have no social security. You have no pension. So what the fuck are you doing? You just wasted your whole fucking life just for some street cred, then you didn't get nothing back for it. Nothing. You know? So it is what it is. Ralph on Real says that, yeah, I favor Usyk. AJ didn't use his advantages like his reach and fought very small. Also was scared to engage, unlike Usyk. Yeah, that's another thing. Chisora is a type of guy who's crude and he's durable. He doesn't care if he's going to get hit. He knows if I get hit, I'm going to give it back. AJ's not that type of fighter. Never was. And whenever if he employs that, look, if he thinks he can employ that Usyk, the Chisora style tactics to get Usyk, I'm telling you that right now, man. It's going to be a very difficult night, much more difficult night for him than it was when he fought Usyk on the 25th. Yeah, the 25th of September. So how does he win it tactically? Yeah, he definitely got to use his advantages. He's got to use his reach. He's got to dictate his distance a lot better. But the thing is, too, if he fights in mid-range, that gives Usyk a lot of openings, too. So I don't know how he can win this. Like I said, the only way he can win is he's got to punch his chance, and it's going to take the act of God to beat this guy. I'm just keeping it real. So, yeah. Terrence says the rematch, in my opinion, really is depending on AJ, just to see if Fury has anything to stick around for in the sport. Yeah, I guess Fury's gonna probably sit and wait on that. If AJ is victorious, he'll definitely take that fight because he does have one more fight left on his contract. So with Top Rank and ESPN / Frank Warren and Queensberry. So yeah, he'll probably gonna wait and see the outcome of AJ and Usyk. So again, I don't see AJ winning that fight. I don't think 6-7 months is going to be enough time for him to prepare for a new style to go up against Usyk. I know some people are going to allude to the Andy Ruiz fight. Hey, we said that about Andy Ruiz. Well, the difference is Andy Ruiz, and I said this too, I thought he shouldn't fight Andy Ruiz in the rematch, but if Andy Ruiz was going to come in the condition that he was in the first fight, extra motivated, in shape, faster on his feet, and never say Andy Ruiz was ever a fast-footed guy, but he was a lot more fluid when he fought AJ. If you got that type of injuries going into the rematch, I don't think AJ was going to win that fight. But Andy Ruiz came in like an idiot at 284 pounds, totally out of fucking shape, slow as hell. Yeah, he got fast hands, doesn't have good head movement. So the only way you could beat Andy Ruiz is outboxing him, just like Joseph Parker did. So yeah, AJ definitely had capabilities in winning that rematch, unless Andy Ruiz compromised himself, like I said, and he did. Hats off to him. But you're not going to win a boxing match like that against Alexander Usyk. I'm sorry. You're not. I'm sorry. And people compare, and that's what I'm saying. People comparing Andy Ruiz to Alexander Usyk, or vice versa, that Alexander Usyk to Andy Ruiz. Come on, man. You live in an alternative universe. No disrespect. This is no Andy Ruiz. And Anthony, in fact, I think there's rumor mill that Anthony, they're kind of like second guessing themselves going into this rematch. With Alexander Usyk. Given that Wilder's lost again, he suffered a terrible knockout defeat in a very valiant effort that he gave. The rumor mill, I saw Blue Blood's channel live stream on this, so I'm not sure if this is accurate information, but it's possible that they could just go ahead and forget about the Usyk rematch and focus on getting a Wilder fight, because that's definitely a big money fight for Anthony Joshua, and I think that's a more winnable fight for him. Look, both men don't have their titles. Both men have 2 losses. Both men suffered their recent losses recently, so it's evenly matched. And that point is whoever lands the first punch. I'll pay for it. I'm sure everybody else will. So, look, I don't know, man. Look, if he wants to, again, Joshua could take the rematch. He is within his legal right to do it, but I would advise against it because I just don't see it going any differently. Steve has said, if AJ isn't prepared to engage and look to be dominating, he's finished. Yeah, good point. But again, though, he just doesn't trust his durability. The fact that he doesn't have it, it's a psychological effect against him. And I've said this many times, and many other uploaders have said this too. He has not gotten over the situation that happened to him against Andrew Ruiz in the first fight. I'm telling you, you can argue that he didn't get over the situation with Klitschko when he nearly got stopped. So I think that Andy Ruiz was the writing on the wall for him. Ever since then, he's fought extra cautiously. He's not going to go in there and go for the kill like he did in his previous fights before the Ruiz loss. He's not doing that anymore. So yeah. Percy says that AJ should swarm periodically, not all the whole round, and uses his reach. Yeah. So in other words, he's got to mix up his arsenal of attack. I agree with that. He can do that. But again, though, man, you're dealing with a fighter who has every single answer to your offensive arsenal. That's Alexander Usyk. He has every single answer to it, man. That's what he does best, is neutralizing your best weapon against you and utilizes your weaknesses against you. That's what Alexander Usyk is good at. So let's see what we got here. Best strategy is to go to the body early, jab, hooks, and slow Usyk's movement. Yeah, I mean, that's the only way you could do it. Go to the body and slow down his movement. But the thing with AJ is worried about is the counters coming from the top of his head, because Usyk was hitting him with those counters every time Joshua was going to that body. So, I mean, he could go to the body, but keep his distance. Not saying his distance, but keep it at mid-range at best, because that's where Anthony Joshua is good at. Keep it at mid-range and target the body from mid-range, not from up close, where you're going to get countered. So, yeah. Terrence says that Andy Ruiz is nowhere the athlete or IQ of Alexander Usyk, is night and day. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. To Ralph Unreal, yeah, I think Josh has a good chance. Another thing is that Usyk is being a step slower off. He's 35 years old. Yeah, age can definitely slow down your mobility. We see that happen to Wilder because he's 35 years old and he's lost his reflexes to some extent now. That's pretty much gone. His foot speed, obviously that all that extra weight stopped his foot speed against Tyson Fury in those 2 fights. So when he comes in at 225, 226. The foot speed will come back, and his endurance will definitely come back. But to your point, though, when you're at 35, your reflexes and your speed will decrease. But the power is the last thing to go, so that will stay. That will stay around for a little, much longer. Let's see. Steven says, I agree. And Ruiz shattered him. Ralph Unreal says, I don't know about that. He was always this way. Well, let's just say, I mean, you can argue that Joshua was psychologically affected after the Klitschko fight. Now, mind you, that was a fight that he almost lost and got knocked out. And some would argue that he was losing that fight, but he had what you call him? He had came back and found the heart and grit to come back and win that fight by stoppage. So, but anyhow, yeah, that kind of changed him a little bit. And the word in the curve is that Rob McCracken wasn't happy about that performance. He let Joshua know that you fought recklessly against Klitschko. So when you have a trainer that tells you, hey, I didn't like that performance, you nearly got knocked out and fucked up in that fight, that would get to you as mentally as a fighter. So yeah, that you can argue that he was affected by that. But the icing on the cake was from the Ruiz loss. So yeah, which he hasn't really recovered from mentally. Steven says that Ralph, no way. No, he was prepared to go hard with White and Klitschko. Yeah, he was. But again, not saying the Dillon White fight had any psychological effect, but it was mainly the Klitschko fight that kind of went that trajectory for him. And then Andy Ruiz fight, the first fight was the icing on the cake, as you want to call it. Whereas that his changed his style to where is the safety first. I'm not going to go for the kill anymore. If the knockout comes, it comes. I get it. But for the most part, you can't be too passive when you get guys hurt, man. You got to go for it. But I think what he's worried about is getting countered when he goes for the kill. This happened to him in his fights against Dillon White. It's happened to him against Klitschko. And it certainly happened to him against Andy Ruiz. So, yeah. So another thing I want to talk about here, I'm going to go and bring up my topic here, is should Joshua step aside for Usyk and Fury? It's just a question. Should he step aside, yes or no? If you ask me, yes. But then again, those who say no, not saying all of you, because I believe some of you are consistent about this. If you say that he should not step aside, then where was this same type of energy or same type of standard for Wilder and Usyk? Because if you're an Anthony Joshua fan, not saying, well, let me say fanboy. Let me just put it that way. Not all you guys are Anthony Joshua fanboys. You're neutral fans. But I'm talking about the hardcores who stick by Joshua no matter what. They'll never criticize him from anything. I get it. I'm talking to that crowd. I'm asking you, when Alexander Usyk and Deontay Wilder, when you guys were pressuring them to step aside, you wanted them to step aside. What was the reason why you wanted those two guys to step aside? Because you wanted undisputed. Joshua versus Fury. I wanted it too. Let's not get it twisted. Now that the tables have turned, Fury's still a champion. Usyk is the new champion. So why is it now that you don't want Joshua to step aside? And by that matter, Dillon White. Why don't you want those guys to step aside, but you wanted Wilder and Usyk to step aside? Why is that? I thought you wanted to see undisputed. But it seems like, no, if your fighter is not in that type of, if he's not in that mix, then undisputed doesn't matter. That's what it seemed like to me. And that's a bunch of hypocrisy right there. Because your whole argument is that Wilder and Usyk need to step aside because we need undisputed. Now we have Usyk and Fury as the champions. There's an undisputed fight right there. You don't want to see it because you feel that White and Joshua need to get their shots before undisputed can occur. That is not fair, and that's totally hypocrisy on you guys' end right there. All right. So, again, if you are consistent, like for example, if you feel that Joshua doesn't need to step aside, but you did say that Usyk shouldn't have stepped aside or Wilder shouldn't have stepped aside, then you're consistent there. But what I'm just worried about, what I'm not so worried about, what I'm concerned about is that those who said that they need to step aside, but when it comes to Joshua, need to get his title shot, and Dillon White, who, needs to get his title shot, and well deserving, they both need to get their title shots. But my point is that You have Usyk and Fury who could be fighting for undisputed, but people don't want to see it because they feel that Joshua needs a shot before undisputed can occur. And I didn't see that same energy occur for Wilder and Usyk when they both, well, Usyk agreed to step aside, but Wilder was trying to get his fight with Fury because of a legal court order through arbitration, which he was legally right. He had a legal right to get that fight. But anyhow, I guess my whole focus is on the Alexander Usyk situation. So I don't understand the vitriol and the double standard when it comes to that. When Usyk was asked to step aside and he agreed to, even though he never got a step aside fee, why can't Anthony Joshua do the same thing for Usyk? Why can't he do that? I know he got the rematch clause. I get it. But undisputed is what matters, right? We haven't got an undisputed heavyweight champion in 2 decades. We're this close. Why don't you just tell Joshua to step aside like you told Usyk? I don't know, man. Steven says that, no, I don't think he needs to because he is fighting Usyk in March. I don't think Fury would have fought Usyk in March anyway. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Chubb, realistically, that's a good point. But what I'm saying is that if, us fans pressure fighters to take good fights, to make fights happen, right? We pressure them. And that's the thing about the power of social media, because in today's, in today's era, fans are the ones who could put pressure on the big fights to happen. Back in the 80s and early 90s and maybe mid 90s, the fans didn't have that type of power or luxury. It was the writers, sports writers back then, who would put pressure on these fighters to make fights. So now it's just we, the fans, have that power. So what I'm saying is that we fans, we're trying to persuade Joshua and Wilder to fight when they were both undisputed champions. And we're very close, but it never happened. Very close. And Fury and Joshua was supposed to happen by fans' pressure. That was close, but didn't happen. So I don't see that same type of pressure for Usyk and Fury. So yeah. Steven says, I heard the WBC is going to order Fury to fight White. If that's the case, Fury wouldn't have to available to fight Usyk in March. Yeah, that was the order that came down before the Fury and Wilder fought. That was a week before they fought. The order was kind of issued. But what up, Mark? But the fact is that Tyson Fury, which is, since we're on him right now, he's already talking about retirement. So we don't know what he's going to do, because I have a very, very strong feeling that he's not going to go through that mandatory fight with Dillon White. He's not going to. I just don't think he's going to do it, because after hearing what he said after the Wilder fight on Saturday, and let's not get twisted, he took some punishment in that fight too, and he took a lot of big shots against Wilder. He said himself that, you know what, I might not even think about boxing after this. I'm going to go home, spend some time with my family and friends, take 7 months off, and I'll see what I want to do there. I have 1 fight left on my contract with Top Rank ESPN. We'll see where what plans we can draw from that standpoint. I just don't see Tyson Fury fighting Dillon White anytime soon. I don't think he ever will, because he's walking around as if he's got nothing left to prove, which is bullshit to me, because first of all, you've only had 4 championship fights in your entire career. You beat 2 dominant champions. Great. All power to you, but that's all you have. So how in the hell are you going to sit there talking about you don't have nothing left to prove? Right? So, and I'm going to get on Tyson Fury in a second. Let me read the comments here. Going back to Joshua a little bit. I think Joshua should take the fight. I always thought Fury and Wilder was going to fight. I personally wasn't interested in the 3rd fight because they already have fought twice. Fair enough, Percy. Fair enough. Yeah, what up, Mark? What up? Salute. Yeah, Mark says that Fury's is set to become the first franchise, the first heavyweight WBC franchise champion. Yeah, I have a feeling that's coming. I could be wrong, because Fury has fucking fooled us before. But this motherfucker right here, man, he's unpredictable. You don't know what he's gonna do. But to hear him at that press conference, he did sound pretty genuine about, not thinking about boxing right now, because he went through a war Saturday night. He knew that fight took something out of him. You say what you will about Deontay Wilder, but that man made Tyson Fury lose a step after that fight. I'm keeping it real. We all know that. So, yeah, we all know Deontay Wilder won't be the same fighter after that, because he took more of a beating. But Tyson Fury is not the same fighter after that either. So he's definitely going to reassess his career. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He ain't thinking about boxing right now. So Does he fight Dillian White? I hope he does, but I just don't. I'm not really confident that he will go through that fight. Because at the end of the day, Tyson Fury say, well, fuck the WBC belt. I'm going to just go ahead and drop it, become franchise, and I'll just run with my Lineo and Ring Magazine belt. I don't need a section body tell me what to do. I'll just run with that. In fact, who knows? He might drop his ring belt because the ring requires you to fight, I think, a top 10 opponent every, 12, 18 months? So if he doesn't fulfill that obligation, they can strip him. So the ring goes vacant, and the WBC belt pretty much goes vacant. He'll be running around with that lineal ship and fight whoever the fuck he wants to fight, like he did before after the Klitschko fight. So it is what it is. Percy said, Dan, don't fall for it. Fury's not retiring. Just like he lied about weighing in 300 pounds and wasn't training. I never bought that crap to begin with. You know what? He was training, but not to the full extent. I didn't think he was going to come in at 300 because I think I think he knew he was going to be much more slower if he came in at 300. But I could tell you for one thing, he didn't really have a good training camp. He admitted himself after the fight that his training camp wasn't that great. So, but again, like I said, though, I don't think if he fights White, all power to him. I commend him for that. But I'm not sure if he's going to really go through it. Because again, he doesn't care about the WBC belt. The rumor mill is that somebody posted somewhere. I have to go back and find it. Somebody posted, because it was initially reported that he made upward of $30 million for his fight Saturday against Wilder. Wilder made $20 million. But the word on the curve is somebody put out another trajectory that this dude's getting close to $50 million and Wilder's getting close to 40. I'm like, well, wait a minute. These guys are getting $90 million together? Wait a minute. I have to find that because I saw some post on that. I have to go back and check. Let me go ahead and find that. Yeah, give me a minute, guys. Yep, Fury needs White, AJ, Usyk to call himself the king. Yeah, he's got to beat those guys. He's got to beat those guys to be called a career. But I don't think he's going to do it because he knows in his mind and his body, given after that what he went through in that third Wilder fight, he knows that he feels that he ain't got much left in the sport because he doesn't want to go through that type of physicality again. Because mind you, he nearly got knocked out in that fight and took a lot of big shots. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Speaking of Deontay Wilder, it is reported that he'll return in May. If so, then that more likely indicates that he'll be fighting Andrew Ruiz in his comeback fight. I'm not sure if that's what he should be fighting, a guy like that in your comeback fight, but I got to commend Deontay for doing that because that's a top 10 heavyweight he's coming back to fight. I know he's got to suffer some broken knuckle in his hand. It's not a injury that where it will sideline you for like over a year or so. So thank God it wasn't an arm injury or a bicep injury. It was just a knuckle on the hand. So that takes a less time to heal and repair. So he'll be back in 7 months' time. I know he's got a 6-month medical suspension. I think Fury got one too. I could be wrong, but I have to go back and check. But anyways, both guys gonna be out of the ring for half a year. So Wilder is slated to come back in May. That is encouraging to hear. But him, if it is Andrew Ruiz, I would advise against it. I would preferably hope it'd be like a Charles Martin type of fighter or maybe Robert Hellenius. But other than that, if it is Andrew Ruiz, all power to him. Big up to Mala. Also, it's Mala. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was you, Mala. I didn't know you were Steven. On Rival, big up. Ah, shucks, fellas. You make me feel like a star. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that's just my spill on Anthony Joshua's situation with the step aside. That's just my take on it. I just find it just a lot of hypocrisy on the fanboys, the Joshua fanboys, not Joshua fans, Joshua fanboys who won't show the same standard when it comes to step aside for undisputed bouts. Like they pressure Usyk and Wilder to step aside, but when their fighter's not in the title picture to fight for undisputed title, and Usyk is, they don't want Usyk to go to pursue the undisputed clash of Fury. They want him to fight Joshua. So again, it's a double standard, man. Everybody's capping from one fighter left and right. Another thing I want to say too, and I'm going to talk to both sides here: Deontay Wilder fanboys and Anthony Joshua fanboys. And this is truthful here. This is coming out of the sincerity of my heart. All right. So over the past, I'll say 4 years now, just about, we've seen a lot of back and forth, a lot of vitriol, a lot of friendships being destroyed over this Joshua and Wilder situation, right? I get that because both sides is capping for each fighter. Over the course of this entire argument, what did we all get out of that? Other than the friendships being broken, this, that, and the third. We got two fighters who've been badly beaten in their recent fights, or in some cases, previous fights in their matter before, their undefeated record went away. They got badly beaten. They both don't have their titles. Both of them are definitely not the same fighters as they were at the peak of their prime. And both could be mentally shot. Now, I'm saying could because we don't know what Wilder's mental state is after that third Fury fight. But as far as Joshua, we know he's mentally not there anymore. Okay? So out of all the vitriol and all the bullshit that all the capping that both sides put on each fighter and disrespecting one another, both fighters took two big losses out of that situation. And they both don't have their titles at all. Okay? So all this, another thing that makes me sick about this is that whenever Joshua loses, one side takes a moral victory that he loses, even though Wilder, I'm talking about Wilder fanboys, and given the fact that Wilder didn't even fight Joshua. And on the other hand, when Wilder takes a loss, all of a sudden the Joshua fanboys is going to take a fucking moral victory by slandering and clowning Deontay Wilder, as if Joshua fought and beat him, and Joshua didn't even fight the guy. Okay? No matter who's at fault there, but they both never fought each other, and they should have fought each other when they had the chance. If they had fought each other, we wouldn't have this mess with Usyk and Fury. And to be fair, though, I'm going to say this, though, even though I'm not a big fan of Usyk or Tyson Fury, but I guess some form of intervention had said that both guys need to come here and clean this shit up with the heavyweight division. You had two guys who were both champions in their prime, undefeated, could have fought each other, both played games when it came to negotiation, and they never fought. Why? Because a certain somebody, and I believe it was Barry Hearn who put out this the statement in the interview IFL. He said that him and Shelley was talked about making that fight and saying that maybe we should put it off and let it marinate, let them get past all the big other top heavyweights, and then we come back to the table another year or two. And since then, all that marinated process went out the fucking window. Could they still fight? Absolutely. It's still a big fight, but it doesn't have that same what's the word I'm looking for? Not saying excitement, but it doesn't have that same luster like it did when they were both champions undefeated in their prime. So I hope both sides are happy now. I hope they are. And Tyson Fury fanboys, let me talk about you guys for a second. You guys are going out there and slandering Deontay Wilder. Okay, fine. You have every right to do that because of the shit that Wilder said about Fury for almost 2 years going into that third fight, slandering him, accusing him of cheating without value evidence, without credible evidence, I should say, dragging his name to the mud to get the third fight. I get all that, okay? But you guys are walking around as if Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight of his era, as if he conquered the entire division. No, he did not. The man's only had 4 fucking title fights in his entire career. He's beat only 2 long reigning champions, and yet you call him the best of his era? He never fought Joshua. He never fought Parker. Yes, he fought Chisora a couple of times and beat him. I'll give him that. But okay, never fought Dillon White. Let's hope he is this close to taking that. He's this close to being ordered to take that fight if he does. Okay. He's never fought Usyk. May not never fight him because Fury himself admitted that he said, I'm not never going to fight Usyk. Why? Because he doesn't speak English, but never say never. But the point is that this man hasn't cleaned out the heavyweight division like the Klitschko's did, like Muhammad Ali did, like Mike Tyson did. So, like Joe Louis did when he was a reigning champion for many years. So why is this guy put to high pedestal? I mean, I'm not saying, let me not be too disrespectful. You guys are really, really way left field on this one. This guy is not the best heavyweight of this era. He is the top guy, I'll give him that, but he's not the best heavyweight this era. He hasn't even fought all the best heavyweights in this division right now. He's been very careful who he fought. It is, ever since he, pretty much in his entire boxing career, ducked out of many fights, had drug scandals hit him left and right. I know, I get all that. I'm not hating. I know I'm bringing that up, but this guy is not a freaking saint. And by the way, I know the video that came out. When Top Rank put out that video via BT Sport, where Fury went up to Wilder's corner at the end of the fight, tried to congratulate him and show him respect, and Wilder didn't want to show him respect. I get all that. But one thing I would say, though, is that Tyson Fury said something to Shelly Finkel was very interesting to me. That I'm surprised nobody picked up on this. Is that he said, I don't know why the guy hates me. I don't know why he hates me, but I never cheated on a day in my life. You hear that? Tyson Fury said that he never cheated on a day of his life. Oh, I'm not talking about Glovegate. No, not accusing him on that one. Now, Tyson Fury, words do matter, man, because when you said that, you fucking shit yourself there, because let's not forget, you did get busted for D'Angelo before the Christian Hammer fight, and that got covered up, right? You got busted for that, right? You also got busted for a manipulated glove in that same fight, by the way. So how can you say that you never got caught for cheating when you went into that fight drugged up, huh? And it was covered up, right? And then you paid a bribe to a farmer to testify with UCAD to tell him that the reason why you were ingested mandrolone was due to wild boar meat, which was a fucking lie. So you can't walk around and say you never cheated a day of your life when that situation is all documented. So anyway, I digress. So another thing I want to address is this whole thing about Tyson Fury being a modern day Muhammad Ali, and he's being compared to him. All right, first of all, the nonsense has got to fucking stop. All right. Again, why is this guy being put on a higher pedestal, huh? Let's take a look at it, shall we? In fact, I know this on the top of my head. Muhammad Ali had 21 wins in title fights. Tyson Fury's had 4, as I've already mentioned. Muhammad Ali's beaten 8 Hall of Famers. Tyson Fury's only beaten 1. Muhammad Ali's cleaned out 2 divisions twice. Tyson Fury has not cleaned out a division. Muhammad Ali's been undisputed champion twice. Tyson Fury has never been undisputed champion. So, exactly how is he the modern day Muhammad Ali? How's he even compared to him? It's beyond fucking me. I mean, seriously. The 2 wins over Wilder and the 1 win over Klitschko does not put you in the bracket of an all-time great heavyweight. It does not put you in a bracket in the league of Muhammad Ali. It does not put you in the league of George Foreman. It does not put you in the league of freaking Mike Tyson. It does not put you in the league of Evander Holyfield. It does not put you in the league of Lennox Lewis. So let's not get that out of the bag. It does not put you in the league of Ezra Charles. It does not put you in the league of Joe Louis. So I don't know what the fuck is this comparison of Tyson Fury and Muhammad Ali coming from. I really don't understand it. Look, great win. Yes, 2 great wins over Wilder. Great, much credit for that. Great win over Klitschko. But the fact is that this man has not fought all the best heavyweights. He's avoided many of them. Okay? And he's talking about retirement, saying I have nothing left to prove. What the fuck? Really? Okay. Fair enough, Tyson. You do what you have to do. You made close to more than $120 million in your 3 fights with Wilder. We'll give you that. But come on, dude. Seriously, maybe I say 120 million, but a little bit close to $100 million. And Wilder kind of I think he made about 80, 90. But anyways, the fact is that, come on, guys, stop with the comparisons with the Fury and Muhammad Ali. That's a freaking insult. I'm just being honest. Okay? Tyson Fury still got a lot more work to do, but if he chooses to retire, if that 3rd Wilder fight took something out of him that he feels that he doesn't need to go on anymore, so be it. That's on him. But he's not an all-time great. Does that mean he won't get into the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I don't think he should be, but who knows? The Hall of Fame does work in mysterious ways. That's the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Hell, they got Riddick Bowe in the Hall of Fame. All right? I'm not comparing Riddick Bowe to Tyson Fury. I think Riddick Bowe is a much better fighter than Tyson Fury, because he's beaten better opponents. But the fact is that Riddick Bowe, to me, Tyson Fury, if you want to make a comparison there, that I think is a fair comparison. Riddick Bowe and Tyson Fury, because both guys, yes, they had one good Hall of Fame win career. I mean, what made Riddick Bowe the heavyweight that he was the trilogy with Evander Holyfield, a small guy coming up in weight. All right? Riddick Bowe and Tyson Fury are the only 2 heavyweights that's won 4 major titles in their careers, and they haven't really defended them. Tyson Fury's only had 1 title defense. Riddick Bowe's only had 2, maybe 3, a little bit more. I think he's had like 4 or 5, if that. But the fact is that Riddick Bowe's avoided many fucking top level fights, many top heavyweights. He didn't fight Mike Tyson. We knew he wasn't going to fight him. He ducked that fight. He didn't fight Ray Mercer, blatantly ducked the Ray Mercer fight. All right. He didn't fight George Foreman. Let's be fair, George Foreman didn't want to fight him. Okay. He didn't fight Lennox Lewis, blatantly ducked that fight. Didn't fight Shannon Briggs. So didn't fight Michael Moore. So it's just like Riddick Bowe, in my view, obviously, Riddick Bowe is not considered an all-time great heavyweight. He's in the Hall of Fame, though. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying he was a bad fighter, but he just had so much potential. You know, he was trying to move his career just like Tyson Fury is, but the fact is he ran into the wrong fucking fighter that pretty much took away his career, and that was Andrew Golota. All right. And the same thing could happen to Fury too, with all his cherry picking and shenanigans. Because, and I told some of these people this too. I say, yeah, enjoy your Fury fans, enjoy that victory at Wilder. But I tell you this, he will be beat. He will be knocked out cold by someone that you didn't think he was going to lose to. That time is coming if he chooses to fight. All right. So, yeah. What's up? Shout out to Fight Doctor in the chat. Yeah, okay. All right, I'm gonna check out your channel, Mala. I'm gonna check you out. Rival said that Dan TalkSport made Tyson Fury the 6th heavyweight since the number ranked 6 heavyweight since 19. What the fuck? This is the shit I'm talking about. What the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god. All right. First of all, who fucking? I know everything's subjective and opinion when it comes to heavyweight rankings, but all time since 1970? Seriously? So let me get this straight. So, okay, let's go down to top 5. I like to see who in the top 5 or the top 10. I like to take a look at that list because let's go down the list of the best ranked heavyweights since 1970. All right. Muhammad Ali, obviously, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes. Who else? Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Vitaly Klitschko. I guess you could put him in there, I guess. And Vladimir. So that's top. Those are the 10 heavyweights right there. I could be, maybe I should take the Klitschkos out because I know there's somebody I'm missing there. Somebody I'm missing. Who is it I'm missing there? I'm thinking. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Those are the top 10 heavyweights since 1970. Those are the top 10 right there. And Tyson Fury is ranked number 6. He's ranked higher than all those other heavyweights. I would assume that TalkSport had ranked Tyson Fury above the Ken Nortons and the Joe Fraziers and Larry Holmes. Or even Evander Holyfield. I bet you that's what they did. I mean, like I'm talking about, man, these comparisons, I mean, I know subjective is a subjective argument, but come on, man. Let's be rational here. This guy hasn't done nothing compared to what these other heavyweights have done in their careers. Nothing. I want to see AJ Wilder. Yeah, that's still a great fight. That still can happen. I think Eddie Hearns even alluded to that too, because it seems like Eddie's given Wilder more respect than he's ever given him before after that loss. So sometimes a loss can, can get you respect. As I recall many years ago, Evander Holyfield, when he was a undisputed heavyweight champion, undefeated, many people didn't respect him. They thought this guy was just, he was overrated. He was a cruiserweight coming up in weight, right? He knocked out Buster Douglas, and many people back then argued that he took advantage of a Buster Douglas who was overweight. He did come in shape for that fight, yada, yada, yada. Then when he fought Larry Holmes and George Foreman, 2 older guys who were in their early 40s, people criticized him for those 2 performances because people felt that he should have knocked them out, this, that, and the third. But when he fought Riddick Bowe the first time and he took a hellacious beating in that fight, he gave a valiant effort, hurt Bowe many times in that fight. He lost his titles, but a lot of people respected him. It showed him a lot of admiration for his courage, a little guy fighting a big man like that. So, I mean, I guess Wilder's getting that same type of respect after a loss, but, obviously at the same time, Evander Holyfield is much greater than Deontay Wilder. So let's not let's not get it twisted. I'm not comparing the two. I'm just talking about the fact that sometimes a loss does help you define you and get you respect that you deserve from your critics. I think the original plan was for them to fight in 2021, but COVID put it on hold. In the last minute fight changes also. Maybe Wilder and Joshua were never supposed to fight. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I think they were planning to fight in 2021. I said that, but they both suffered dramatic losses, and that got derailed. So yeah. Mala says, I always looked at AJ and Wilder both undefeated with the titles as Riddick Bowe and Lennox Lewis of the era, and sadly it went the same. Yeah, you know what? That is a great comparison there. The only thing I would say though is that Lennox Lewis wasn't the champion when Riddick Bowe was, because Riddick Bowe was the undisputed champion. All right, when he beat Evander Holyfield, he took his titles away from him. And Lennox Lewis was waiting in line to get the shot at the winner because he was the WBC mandatory challenger. And sadly, Riddick Bowe vacated his belt and infamously, I can't even pronounce the word. Infamously, threw the belt in the trash in a live interview session, the WBC belt that is, and told Lennox Lewis, if you wanted to pick up this belt, come and get it. It's in the trash, which is one of the most disgraceful acts I've ever seen in boxing. But it's sadly though, because it's kind of like we're heading that direction with AJ Wilder. Hopefully we're not, because I think they can still make that fight. But I will say this though. There's a high probability that Joshua and Fury may not happen. That could end up like a Junior Witter and Ricky Hatton situation, or Kell Brook or Amir Khan situation. So, or Joe Kawasaki and Carl Froch situation. So, yeah. Percy says, I thought Ali beat 10 Hall of Famers. You could be right, but I counted 9 or 8. I have to go back and check. Oh, yeah, Rival kind of corrected it. So, yeah, 7 Hall of Famers. Yeah, so those Hall of Famers were Foster, not Michael Moore, Archie Moore, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, Bob Foster, great light heavyweight, all-time great light heavyweight, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, and Ken Norton. Yep, those are the 7 that he beat. Those are the 7 Hall of Famers he beat. 11 wins in Hall of Fame fights. All right. Fight Doctor says that Bowe would have beaten Lewis back in the early 90s. You know what? Styles make fights. I know the earlier version of Lennox Lewis, when he was trained by Pepe Correa, he was too upright, too stiff, didn't really have great defense. I mean, it's hard to say. I know back then I did say that any version of Lennox Lewis would beat Riddick Bowe, but who knows? That the Pepe Correa version of Lennox Lewis probably could have lost to Bowe. So, Fight Doctor, you probably could be right about that. I know that's a hypothetical, that's opinion, but if you're talking about early 90s, if you're talking about the mid 90s where Lennox Lewis was trained by Emmanuel Stewart, yeah, Riddick Bowe would not beat that Lennox Lewis. He would have no chance. So, yeah. Mala says that Lewis would have knocked out Bowe. Would have knocked Bowe out. He would never overpower him like he started doing it at the Olympics. Yeah. I mean, Lennox stopped Riddick Bowe. He gave him a beating in that gold medal final back in '88. So, and Bowe never forgot about that. So, when you talk about the mental strength and capacity there, Bowe did not. He knew mentally that he wasn't going to fight Lennox Lewis because he ain't forgot what he did to him. In fact, Lennox Lewis gave Riddick Bowe a beating in the amateurs before the Olympics. So, they had history there before they fought for the gold medal. So, yeah. I'll get you the list on the Hangouts. All right, cool. All right. I'll check it out. Amateur and pro ranks are 2 different animals. Absolutely. All right, I'll take a look at it, man. Let me see. Bowe. I'm trying to catch up with the comments, y'all. Bowe was easy to hit. And he struggled with Holyfield's power. He would have survived flush shots for Lennox Lewis. Excellent point. You know, it's funny, though, because Riddick Bowe was taking flush shots against Tyrell Biggs in their fight. And this is Riddick Bowe coming up as a prospect. I'm like, what the fuck? You shouldn't even be getting hit against a guy like, Biggs was a good boxer, but Tyrell Biggs. Biggs was a good boxer, but he was already shot going into that fight. The beatings he took from Mike Tyson. I think he also took a beating from, who else did he take a beating from? Was it Pinklin Thomas? I don't know. I have to go back and check. But anyhow, that guy was shot, and he was already had some substance abuse issues too. So that guy was not mentally there anymore. But he was hitting Bo with some monster shots in their fight. We needed Mike Tyson versus Riddick Bowe. Well, you know what? Mike Tyson, when he was interviewed by Larry King, I know many of you may not know who Larry King was. He was a veteran journalist before he died a couple years ago. Larry King interviewed Mike Tyson when he was in prison, and he was asked about Riddick Bowe, and Mike Tyson said that, you know what, Riddick and I will never probably fight each other because we both grew up together. We were in the same neighborhood, so and they respected each other. They were great friends, so that fight would never have happened. I'm sorry to say that, but it would not happen. If it did happen, then Mike Tyson all day. Easy target for Mike. I'll write it for that list for you, actually. Okay, cool. Fight Doctor says Ali, Holmes, Lewis, Tyson, Holyfield, Bowe, all head of Fury. Well, yeah, Bowe definitely, but what Rival was talking about is the list that the Talk Sport had put out for the top 10 heavyweights since 1970. In fact, I'm gonna check it out right now. I mean, he's gonna write it out for me. I'm gonna check it out because that's some fucking bullshit. In fact, I should make a video about that too, going off, because that, I know, again, it's all subjectivity, it's all opinion, but get the fuck out of here with that shit. In fact, yeah, I'm gonna look at it right now, guys. In fact, let's go ahead and I'm gonna share this. Okay, so let's take a look at this list. Boxing's greatest ranked heavyweights of all time since 1970, right? But they say all time ranked, so let's see. Okay, so there's the top 20. So they have Ernie Schaefer's ranked number 20, right? Let's go down this list together, guys. Give me a minute. I'm going to go do my screen share one more time. All right. So let's look at this damn list. So this is from Talk Sport. They have Ernie Schaefer's ranked 20th all time, not all time, but 20th greatest heavyweight since 1970. Okay, fair enough. Michael Moore, number 19. Okay. Wise, okay, I'm gonna go down there. Chris Bird, number 18. Okay. Deontay Wilder, number 17th. Okay. Jimmy Young, number 16th. Okay. Michael Spinks, number 15. Tim Witherspoon, number 14. Shout out to Terrible Tim Witherspoon. He's now a blogger now, so he's got a channel up. So guys, take a look at it. Subscribe to Terrible Tim Witherspoon's YouTube page. We'll be giving interviews and boxing boxing pointers here and there. So shout out to Tim. Anthony Joshua, number 13. I don't know about that one. Ken Norton, number 12. Riddick Bowe, number 11th. Vladimir Klitschko, number 10. Vitaly, number 9. Number 8, Mike Tyson. Number 7th, Evander Holyfield. Tyson Fury, number 6. What in the fuck? Joe Frazier, number 5. Lennox Lewis, number 4. Foreman, number 3. Holmes, number 1. And Ali, number 1. I mean, number 2, Holmes and Ali, number 1. Okay. It's fair to say that Tyson Fury wasn't ranked above Lennox Lewis, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and Larry Holmes and George Foreman. So, okay, I get that. But why the hell is he ranked above Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson? What in the fuck is that? Why is he ranked above Vitaly? Why is he ranked above Vladimir? And to be fair, look, yeah, he beat Vladimir, but that doesn't mean he's greater than Vladimir. Get the fuck out of here. Hell, why is he ranked above Riddick Bowe? And I said, look, I said that you can make a bit of a comparison between the two, but Riddick Bowe's fought much better fighters than fucking Tyson Fury. Riddick Bowe was involved in one of the greatest heavyweight trilogies of all time against the all-time great Evander Holyfield. What the fuck is that all about? Why is he ranked above Ken Norton? Huh? Why is he ranked above Ken Norton? Hell, why is he ranked above Anthony? Well, I guess there's a bit of a debate there with Anthony Joshua, but and with Michael Spinks? Michael Spinks beat Larry Holmes twice. That Larry Holmes is a much better fighter than Vladimir Klitschko all time. What the fuck? Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Michael Moore. I don't know if I put Tyson Fury over above Michael Moore. I'm to be honest. I don't think he should go above him. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here because that shit pisses me the fuck off, man. The fuck is that all about? I mean, what type of asinine list is that right there? You put him above fucking Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson? Nah, man, my blood is boiling on that one. Like I said, man, people are overreaching with that Wilder victory. Yes, it was a great victory. It goes down one of the greatest trilogies of all time at heavyweight. But the fact is that Wilder win does not put you above the likes of Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield. Hell, Ken Norton by that matter. It don't put you above Michael Spinks. It doesn't put you above Michael Moore. I said it. Yeah, I don't think I don't think Tyson Fury is greater than Michael Moore. I'm just being honest. He's not. He's not. I'm sorry. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, Foreman is already ranked above Fury. They rated him number 3, and Fury rated number 6. So yeah. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, Mike Tyson, Oliver McCall. I get it. Yeah, Rival says, yeah, Dan's going off. Yeah, I'm looking at this fucking list again. I should do a video on a separate video on this one, man. This shit pisses me the fuck off, man. Look, again, this man Tyson Fury hasn't even proven what these other guys on this list have done. He hasn't done it. Has he cleaned out a division? No. How many Hall of Famers has he beaten? One Hall of Famer. That's all he's done. He's only had 4 title fights in his entire career, 30-fight career. And yet this guy is being talked as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time since the 1970s. What the fuck? Oh, man, look, the Fury fanboys are not going to like this, man. I'm doing a fucking video. I'm going to destroy Tyson Fury's resume. I'm sorry. I got to go there, bro. I got to do it. I got to do it. And, you know, some people say, well, if you're going to do that, that means you're destroying Deontay Wilder. No, I'm not. I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. The Wilder win was a great win. Same thing with the Klitschko win. But that does not mean that those 2 wins right there put Tyson Fury above a fucking Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, or Michael Spinks and Michael Moore. Hell, he doesn't go above Ken Norton. No fucking way. All right? And I dare anybody fucking do a counter argument on that. Anybody. Okay? I promise to keep it respectful. I'm not going to go off, but that's just asinine. All right, so let me see. Ralph on Real says, yeah, I got Mike Tyson over Fury, and I'm a Fury fan. Yeah. Okay, let's do a hypothetical matchup. A prime Mike Tyson versus a prime Tyson Fury, who would win that fight? I know it's probably a stupid question, but who would win that fight? Mike Tyson will murder Tyson Fury. Murder him. And you think Tyson Fury could go there in that fight against Mike Tyson and try to lean on him? And I mean, look, Lennox Lewis did it, but to be fair, Mike Tyson was way past his best. He was overweight in that fight. I'm talking about a prime Mike Tyson who was very quick, very elusive, who had very good defense, ferocious power. You know, it was just unbelievable. Unbelievable by the way that guy was explosive. That Tyson Fury would not gone near that version of Mike Tyson. Maybe the Mike Tyson that fought Lennox Lewis, yeah, Tyson Fury probably would have had a chance of beating him, but no, not the prime version of Mike Tyson. No chance for Tyson Fury. None. Yeah, exactly, Fight Doctor. He would have been decapitated. Texas says Mike Tyson keyword body shots. Nobody's gone to the body peripherally like on Fury yet, consistently for 12 rounds. Yeah, the body shots. I mean, especially the right hooks that Mike Tyson was good at putting a lot of muster into. The left hooks. I mean, Tyson Fury probably would survive at least 5 or 6 rounds, but that's all I'm giving him. Red Glove, shout out to you, brother. What's happening? So yeah, I was just going off on the Talk Sport all-time heavyweight rank list since the 1970s. I mean, I mean, here's the thing that the writer here, the opinion writer made a mistake here. He titled the article "All Time Ranked." I mean, did he not watch Joe Louis fight? I mean, did he not watch Jack Johnson? Career? Did he study his career? Did he study Ezra Charles's career? I mean, come on. To be fair, though, he did say that ranking boxing's best big men is no easy task. So it makes it more manageable for TalkSport, who has struck the last 50 years. And with the apology of Jack Dempsey, Jack Johnson, and anyone else called Jack in the 20 modern hit day heavyweights. Okay, so it is last 50 years. So since 1971 or 70. So, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Let me send you a link, man. Give me a minute. All right. There you go, man. Go ahead and hop on. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up about a good 10 minutes or so. So yeah, we can have a discussion. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, don't this man, don't put Tyson Fury above a pedestal where he shouldn't be. This man is not consistent with his career. He's had over 30 plus fights, only 4 title wins, has 1 Hall of Fame win, or actually he's had 3 title fights. I mean, 3 wins in title fights, 4 title fights in all together. And yeah, he's an all-time great. Get the fuck out of here. He's already talking about retirement. I don't want to hear that bullshit. I'm sorry. If he had like more than double-digit title wins, then maybe you can talk. But other than that, he doesn't even come close to that.
Yo, bro, I'm just listening to you, bro. All the names, like you're just like, the fuck is that? What the fuck? He ain't better than no fucking Vladimir. Hell, he ain't better than Michael Moore. What the fuck?
I'm telling the truth. I'm sorry. If anybody who wants to argue against me on that, I welcome that argument. You better.
He's got 2 great wins.
That's it.
And a good gate and 2 wins over a good gatekeeper, right? In Chisora, right?
Right.
You know, I've been killing Fury fans on Twitter the last few days, just killing them, like just anally decapitating them, like going in through the cavity and punching up into their heads because they can't deal with it. You know,
right?
It's ridiculous. People saying he greater than Ali. Get the fuck out of here. Greater than Larry? What?
Well,
greater than George. Now TalkSport are saying like he's greater than Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Vlad Vitali,
Ken Norton. Oh man, Ken Norton. I mean, you put him above fucking Ken Norton. I mean, come on, man. Michael Spinks. Yeah, Michael Spinks didn't have the greatest heavyweight run, but that man actually beat Larry Holmes twice. Controversial or not, he beat him.
What would you rather have? 2 wins over Deontay Wilder and a win over Vladimir Klitschko, or 2 wins over Larry Holmes and a win over Jerry Cooney?
I'd rather have 2 wins over Larry Holmes.
And a win over Jerry Cooney.
Huh?
A win over Jerry Cooney.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that's a decent win. I'm not saying Jerry Cooney is better than Deontay Wilder or Vladimir Klitschko, but Larry Holmes' win itself overshadows everything because he
beating the 2 of them.
Yeah, he beat the 2 of them. He beat Larry Holmes at his best when he was undefeated. Took his record.
And he was coming up in weight, by the way.
Yeah, light heavyweight. So yeah, don't sit there and put him above Michael Spinks. Come on, man. Michael Spinks' win was much more significant than anything that Tyson Fury's just done at heavyweight. I'm just sorry to say that. Those 2 wins right there against Larry Holmes and that win against Jerry Cooney. So Michael Moore, he beat Evander Holyfield. So don't sit there, and he's just not consistent, man. You can't sit there and put a guy above all these other heavyweights who've had more than double-digit title fights in heavyweight and wins that by that matter.
Dan, right? On Twitter today, right? I put this up, right?
All right?
So yesterday I did the Ali comparison statistically, Fury and Ali, right? So today I did the Mike Tyson one, and I put up a post, and the post read, so TalkSport put up a top 20 heavyweights list of the last 50 years and placed Tyson Fury number 6 and Mike Tyson number 8. I'll drop this here like I did for Fury versus Ali. How on earth did they do this one out with their ass, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the stats. Title fights: Fury 4, Mike Tyson 16.
Mm-hmm.
Title fight wins, Fury 3, Mike Tyson 12. Wins over Hall of Fame, Fury 1, Mike Tyson 2. Individual Hall of Fame beaten, Fury 1, Mike Tyson 2. Wins versus top 10 rated opponents, Fury 5. And the reason I do that is because, for anyone who's wondering, is Derek Chisora for 2 months of his career was rated number 10 in Ring Magazine. That's the only reason, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the wins versus top 10 rated opponents, Fury 5. Mike Tyson, 17. Number of title defenses, Fury 1. Mike Tyson, 9. Number of times undisputed, Fury 0. Mike Tyson, 1. And youngest ever, by the way. Now, I've made a stat sheet because of the number 7 on that list was Evander Holyfield, right?
Oh, you forgot to mention too that how many times has Tyson Fury and how many times has Tyson Fury become unified champion? And how many times has Mike Tyson become unified champion? Tyson.
Oh, no, I'm not doing those that part of it. I'm not. That's not part of the grid. This is just basic. So I did Holyfield now, right? Title fights: Fury 4, Holyfield 25. Title fight wins: Fury 3, Holyfield 16. Wins over Hall of Fame: Fury 1, Holyfield 7. Individual Hall of Fame beaten: Fury 1, Holyfield 5. Wins versus top 10 rated opponents. You ready for this, Dan?
I'm ready.
Fury 5, Evander Holyfield 26.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
Number of title defenses: Fury 1, Holyfield 12.
Oh,
number of times undisputed: Fury 0, Holyfield 2.
All right, hey, hold on. Who wrote this article? Let me check. Who's the author? What's the name of the guy? Alex Reed. All right, maybe we should email him or have him come on and explain his list because come on, man. I know it's subjective. It's all subjectivity at the end of the day, but you better have a damn good argument. Why is Tyson Fury ranked above Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson? Those two names. Why? Give us a good reason why.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he better have a good explanation if I ever invite him on. Come on, man. Seriously. First of all, why did he put actually, Floyd Patterson wasn't a champion in the 70s, so okay, I'll leave that alone. But Vitali and Vladimir, come on, man. He can't rank above those guys. No fucking way. Let me see. I mean, this is amazing. That win over Wilder is not the greatest since sliced bread, as you want to call it. Was it a great win? A great trilogy? Absolutely. But that is not enough to say I'm going to call it a career. I deserve to be an all-time great heavyweight based off that. No, bruh. If I told Tyson Fury, I'll tell him in his face, you're not an all-time great heavyweight. You got more work to do. But if you feel that you need to retire, you feel you have nothing left to prove, then it's on you. So be it. But don't call yourself an all-time great. You're nowhere near that. You know that. You just playing on fans' emotion with that bullshit. You just trying to find a way to get out of tough fights because you knew you were in a very difficult fight with Wilder. You could have got knocked out. You got hurt plenty of times, several times. So, come on, dude. Don't play on, don't fucking fuck with our emotions on that, bro. Don't do it. So, to the Fury fanboys, I don't give a damn if you get mad or not. I'm telling the truth. The man ain't done nowhere a fraction with these other all-time heavyweight, great heavyweights, what they went through. Not even a fraction. So don't even dare call this man an all-time great heavyweight, that he's the best of his era. No, he's not. Anthony Joshua, despite his 2 losses, has a better run at heavyweight than Tyson Fury. That is a fact. A fact. Say what you will about him, but the man had a better run than Tyson Fury. A better run. So if you disagree with that, so be it, but that's the truth. All right. I'm done venting. I'm done being ranting. I don't know, man. Just these rankings get to me. It kills me, bro. I don't know. I just feel that sometimes these all-time greats, these legends who I always have most respect for, I think they get disrespected because none of these people don't bother doing research on them. They don't. And they should talk about, well, I haven't watched them fight, so I'm not going to rank them. Okay, fair enough. But don't sit there and rank somebody just if you didn't study the history.
Yeah. And a lot of people point out things, they argue little things with you, and they'll say stuff like, I remember earlier on Twitter, so I posted this and somebody DM'd me saying Floyd Patterson was the youngest heavyweight champion. No, Mike
What?
did it was undisputed. I think it's 3 months earlier
Right.
than Patterson. I think it's 3, maybe 4.
Right.
And people need to like remember that, you know what I mean? They need to think about that, especially when you're claiming undisputed, you know what I mean?
Right.
Ugh.
I know it's late over your end.
I'm staying up for the Navarrete fight, mate.
Oh yeah, it's taking forever, man. I don't know what's going on.
I'm actually pissed. It's 5 o'clock in the morning here. Like, come the fuck on.
I know it's 9 over here, 9 p.m. on this side town.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't know what's going on. That fight the main event should have happened about almost an hour ago. So I don't know what's going on there, or 30 minutes or 40 minutes ago.
And they have feather-fisted fuckers in the ring right now.
Oh Lord. I don't know. Somebody might have started the production late. Somebody's gonna get fired after this is done. Yeah.
But yeah, this whole thing is getting depressing, that, to be perfectly honest. Like, I don't even understand an all-time top 20 heavyweight since 1970. That's just contradictory. Just say top 20 heavyweights since 1971 or something, or of the last 50 years.
Right.
Right? Don't say all-time of the last 50 years. What? That's like me saying every hour for 4 hours.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing though, because when you insert the word all time, that means all time. There's no time restriction on that. There's no restriction. All you have to say is the top heavyweight since 1970, 71. That's all. So whoever was the editor at large didn't catch that before you cut the quote. Because obviously, whenever you publish an article, you have to have an editor look at it and make sure everything is formatted correctly as far as the sentences and the punctuations, this, that, and the third, and the wording is correct. Mm-hmm. But for I don't know if the editor didn't catch that and say, well, first of all time means there's no restriction on time. There's
I don't know anymore, man. I don't even know.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I need to reach out to Mr. Alex. I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but come on. I mean, I need to bring this person on, if he or she, whoever, bring this person on and say, hey, you need to explain why is Tyson Fury ranked above all the other, above Holyfield and Tyson. I like to hear that.
I don't think he put the criteria out there, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't even put the criteria out. That's what's more disturbing. So that's why I'm very anxious to see if he wants to get on. And I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to reach out to him and say, hey, can you explain this?
I can do you top 20 right now, and I'll do it of all time. Give me a second.
All right.
I'll write one right now. Right now.
All right. Hey, before you do that, let me get my laptop charger. Hold on for a second, okay?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm actually going to write one right now, quick. All right.
Bye, bad. All right, I'm back, bro.
No worries.
I Red Glove is making Red Glove is like, hey, spoiler, Tyson Fury is an all-time great heavyweight since 2020. I guess that's mildly put it at best. Oh man. All right, so yeah, while you work that top 20, let me just see if there's anything else I need to know. While we're waiting for the NAVARATTE fight, I may have to close this down before it gets to that point, but I'll wait for that top 20. Yeah, like I said, man, I've addressed the whole Tyson Fury, Ali comparison. That has to stop. Number one. Number two, they step aside double standard with AJ and with the Usyk and Fury and White situation. Please, let's share the same standards. And the one thing I did discuss with both the AJ fanboys and the Joshua fanboys, they said after all the last 4 years, all this back and forth, when all the friendships and relationships were destroyed over this situation, because we're all capping for our fighters. I get all that. That's tribalism. That's how it is in boxing. But what was the end result of that? Both fighters made two big losses in their careers. Both got damaged. Both of them might be mentally shot. AJ, for the most part, might be mentally changed after that fight. Obviously, he's been mentally not there not there ever since the Ruiz fight. But you could argue the Klitschko fight was the telling point. Wilder may not be mentally there anymore, so who knows? We have to see how he if he can regain his form in next year in May. That's when he's slated to come back. After all this, both fighters have lost everything. They don't have their titles, okay? And this whole thing about if Wilder loses, there's a moral victory that the AJ fanboys take, even though AJ didn't fight Wilder. Then if AJ takes a loss, that Wilder fanboys take a moral victory as if the Wilder fought the guy and beat him, and Wilder didn't fight him. So all this bickering is for nothing. For nothing. All this capping for these two were for nothing. Does that mean that they can't fight? No. But it just the fight doesn't have any luster anymore, given the fact that these men have been beaten out of their prime for the most part, both of them. And it's sad, but that doesn't mean they can't continue their careers because the heavyweights have longer miles on their clock, as you want to call it. So, yeah. So still wait for that top 20 list, man. I know Mark is working on that. So, what else is here? Yeah, let me go ahead and bring up. Why is that NAVARATTE fight taking forever, man? Jesus Christ. All right, let me address one more thing. All right, before I get to that, Red Glove says I ended no friendships due to AJ versus Wilder, but some people ended their friendships with me. Yeah, you know what, man? I'm with you on that one because there's some people who've ended their friendships with me too over the Wilder AJ situation. Look, and I'm not gonna name who they are. I'm sure you know who they are.
We're not friends anymore.
There you go. We're not.
We're out looking at anything or anything just off head, right? Just wrote this down.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
I wrote it there in the private chat if you want to read it.
Okay, let me go ahead and take a look at it. All right, so let's bring up the list.
Yeah, I know, bro. Hot damn, right?
All right, let's see.
It won't be perfect.
I hear you, man. No problem. You wrote it in the private chat? I don't see it.
You don't see it in the private chat?
Mm-mm.
Huh. Like the private chat on StreamYard.
Oh, not that one. My bad. I didn't take a look at it.
Yeah, private chat on StreamYard.
All right, let's take a look. So you have Ali number 1, Joe Louis number 2, Sam Langford number 3, Harry Wills number 4, Jack Johnson number 5, Larry Holmes number 6, Joe Jeanette number 7, Lennox Lewis number 8, Vander Holyfield number 9, George Foreman number 10, 11 Tyson, 12 Sammy McVeigh, 13 Vladimir Klitschko, 14 Jack Dempsey, 15 Jersey Joe, 16 Marciano, 17 Patterson, 18 Frazier, 19 Godfrey, and number 20 Jim Jeffries. Not a bad list. I'm not going to argue against that, but I would argue though, if I would have taken one of the names out of that list, maybe I would have taken Godfrey or
George Godfrey, the labor Bill Shadow.
Yeah, maybe him, and put Ezra Charles in there because Ezra Charles definitely deserves to be in the top 20.
I'm writing it purely on the heavyweight resume.
Purely. Right? Yeah, purely on that. Yeah. Well, Ezra Charles had a great heavyweight run. Great heavyweight.
George Godfrey has like an amazing heavyweight run.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, I know he did, but
I feel you can take it. You can take him out and put Ezra in there. You could take him out there and you could put Jack Sharkey in there too. There's another name. Yeah,
Jack Sharkey. You can also put let's see who we could put in there too. I mean, honestly, you got Vladimir in there. You could also put. I mean, there's a lot of great all-time great heavyweights in there. Uh,
I could put Vitali in.
yeah, Vitali. Yeah, you could put him in there. I won't argue against that. Vitali. Yeah, I mean, let me see. Jimmy Bivens. So you could put him in there, even though he didn't really win a title, but he was a great heavyweight, all-time great. Let's see. Jersey Joe Wilcott. I don't know. I guess that's stretching it out. Well, actually, you got Jersey Joe in there, so never mind. Let me leave that alone. Marciano. Okay, I'm not no gripes there. No gripes there. Let's see there.
Hey,
Yeah,
for Ezra then. I don't mind. Ezra can go on number 20. Why not?
yeah. Ezra definitely deserves to be in there. Ezra deserves to be in there. So like I said, you could flip it around. You could put Ezra in there. I mean, you could take. Yeah, you could take Godfrey. You could
By
take
the way, that
Patterson
I
out.
don't.
Oh,
I'll never dispute Ezra because this is how highly I rate him. I have him number 7 of all time, pound for pound.
There you go.
So,
yeah, I can't argue that. I got Ezra rated number 2 pound for pound all time on my list. So
did you have one Ray Robinson?
definitely Ray Robinson. Ezra goes number 2, and the reason why Ezra doesn't get the credit that he deserves, and nobody talks about him. It's like
Most people don't even have him top 10, bro.
I know,
or 15. Even. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's criminal. I mean, did they know what the Hoodoo Man fought throughout his career? I know Heavy had a great heavyweight run. I'm not saying he's a natural heavyweight, but his run at heavyweight was a Hall of Fame run. He beat Hall of Famers there, so it won the title. So I don't know. What is
the man has wins over Borley to Joe, like to Jersey Joe to like
Solanovic to
like 3 wins over Archie Moore.
Yeah, Archie Moore.
Unbeaten in they fought 3 times, beaten 3 times.
Right. So there you go. There's another example of a fighter always getting your number. Always has your number. Same thing with Charlie Burley. Beat him twice. So it's like, he had Charlie Burley's number. At one point, he almost had Jersey Joe Wilcott's number. He beat him 3 out of the 4 fights. Unfortunately, that 4th fight, Jersey Joe caught him with a good left hook and knocked him out cold. So
is it 3-wood Essert or is it 2-wood-1?
I think it's 3-1. I have to go back and check.
Or 2-2. Are you sure it's not 2-2?
No, I think Ezra won 3 of those 4 fights. I have to check. I could be wrong. Let me check.
No, you could be right. I'm not perfectly up on that at the moment. It's been a while. I haven't looked at his record in like 2 years.
Yeah, let me take a look. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked at Ezra's record. Let me see.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let me see. Walcott.
I would have a lot of people give me shit for the list that I put there because most people wouldn't know Joe Jeanette or Sam McVeigh, A lot won't. But you at least have an idea of what I'm talking. I'm talking that Ferocious 4.
Yeah, Langford, here's the thing about that. Many people, some will argue that Langford should go number 1 of all time, and I wouldn't argue that either.
I wouldn't either. So Marciano went 49-0, right? At heavyweight. Langford at heavyweight had more heavyweight Hall of Fame fights than Marciano had fights. Right. Exactly. Let it sink in for a second.
Right.
And also if you rank the color title, which I do by the way, he has it's speculated from a lot of different sources. I go with the one that I sourced myself. He has 39 color title defenses on my list. Other people, I think BL goes 41, I think he does. I've heard Scrapbook, I think, mention 39 to 41 himself in around those numbers, which is where I'm kind of at. I've heard historians like Dick's rate him at 35 defenses. So it really depends who you go to.
All right. Well, shout out to Scrapbook, by the way. I don't know, man. The good thing is with this is it's interesting when you bring up the current color title. I'll be honest with you, I never really rated that title. I know there was discriminatory practices that bar that title from becoming meaningless. But you do have to take into account that since many of those black fighters were barred from getting a title shot at the world title, you have to kind of say, you know what? They all had Hall of Fame fights despite not having a world championship. So
let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How many weight divisions is Oscar De La Hoya? What weight champion is he?
Well, he's a 5-weight champion. He won in super featherweight, lightweight, light welterweight, 154, 160. So 5 divisions.
That's 6.
Oh, six divisions. I'm sorry, six divisions. I'm sorry.
No, he's not. The WBO wasn't recognized then.
No, it wasn't, but they retroactive it after it became recognized. So that's why they kept
Okay.
that.
So guys
Yeah.
like Sam Langford was made a champion emeritus by the WBC, effectively recognizing the colored championship from the 1900s as a WBC title. So Sam Langford does have 30 defenses. And all of the colored champions do because the WBC recognized it in the last year.
Oh, yeah. You're right about that. I forgot. Yeah, that's
I will go down on people on this, baby. This is my shit.
All right. You got me there. Yeah, you got me there. How could I miss that?
I love it. I'm a huge admirer of those fighters. Huge.
Yeah, I am too, man. I mean, it's good to have, once in a while to have these discussions because I think that's one of the major things that's missing from this platform is that we don't really talk about those school fighters that much anymore. We're all caught up with what's happening today. I mean, nothing wrong with that because it does bring in new fans, but it's always good to have these conversations because these fighters need to be remembered. They need to be discussed.
It's always good also if there's anybody new listening. They may have heard a couple of new names.
Yeah.
They may never have heard of Joe Jeanette.
Yeah, or Sammy McVeigh, or the George Godfreys, or the Ezra Charles, or the Jimmy Bivens.
I like what you did there when you said the dead George Godfreys, because there's two for anyone who doesn't know. All Chocolate and Naperville Shadow. Both of them were colored champions.
Oh yeah,
one in the late 1800s to early 1900s, which is All Chocolate, and then the Naperville Shadow, which is the one I have listed there at 19.
Yeah, by the way, there were two Peter Jacksons that were fighting in the early 1900s. You have the young Peter Jackson who fought in
the Blackbirds.
Yep. So, yeah, there's two Peter Jacksons at that time, and there was two there were two Joe Wilcots, Barbados Joe Wilcott and Jersey Joe Wilcott. So,
and Arnold Cream. Yeah. Arnold Cream, Jersey Joe Walcott.
There you go. Yeah, all-time great. They're both all-time great. They're both legends, Barbados and Jersey. So, yeah, man. So, yeah, that the thing is too. Yeah, back to this list here, man. Tyson Fury is not all-time great. I don't give a damn what the fanboys say. He's not an all-time great. He hasn't proven that. I don't give a fuck about the wins over Wilder. They were great wins. I don't give a fuck about the win over Klitschko, which was another great win, a Hall of Fame win. Yep. But he's not up there. You can't argue for that. You cannot make a good argument for that. I'm sorry.
Hey, Dan, let me ask you a question. Talk Sports list or the list that I made in 2.5 minutes?
Well, your list has more credibility than theirs. I'm sorry to say that.
My list ain't even perfect, but it was 2.5 minutes. There was no real brainstorming.
Yeah, there's no brainstorming because you already knew who should be in there and you studied these fighters. To me, it just shows that this writer who put this out hasn't really studied the history. How can you put on an asinine list like that and put Tyson Fury above Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson? Have you not watched him fight? He probably is born in 1999 or something like that. I'm not trying
look
to
at my list. Look at my list, man. Look at my list, right? If you have anybody above Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, you're making a claim they're top 10 heavyweights of all time. That's what you're saying. That of all time, not 50 years, of all time. Because look at the names I have there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm here, man. I lost the connection there.
Oh, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Look at the list I have. Look at the list I have, right? If you look, Mike Tyson and Evander 11 and 9. Effectively, if you claim Tyson Fury is above those two guys, and look at the names I've got in there, you're really making a claim he's a top 10 heavyweight since the Marcus of Queensbury began.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even put him above. If you really think he goes above Sam Langford, yeah, you smoking crack. Harry Wills, you're definitely smoking crack there. Jack Johnson, no comment. Larry Holmes, definitely no comment. Evander Holyfield, like I mentioned, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, I know those two always are brought up.
Lennox.
Oh, yeah, Lennox. Oh, please, man. Get out of here.
Lennox was 4 on that list.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't go above. I mean, yeah, Lennox is ranked above him. Now, yeah, I guess that's one of the few things the writer got right. But yeah, the Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield ranking over that's just asinine. That's crazy. I mean, I'm seriously want to go ahead and write to this writer and he just come on here and explain that list Explain it, because it seems like he didn't do no in-depth research to put those guys in the way he ranked them. I mean, look, again, it's all about subjectivity at the end of the day, but come on, man, you got to do further research to that before you put out a list like that, just to put Mike Tyson above a pedestal where he shouldn't be. I'm just being honest.
Absolutely, man.
You shouldn't
It's
do that.
ridiculous.
So let me see. Is this Amir who just coming into the chat?
Yo, what's going on, Dan?
Long time, man. Where you been?
Man, come on, man. Just been out here, man. How's things with you?
It's good, man. It's good. You know, just trying to come on here and rant. I haven't ranted in a very long time, so it was long overdue. I know Mark had gave me another reason to rant because I was here trying to point out the double standard with with the step aside for undisputed heavyweight. I mean, I don't want to go to that diatribe. I've already said my piece on that. But since you're here, what do you think about the Wilder and Fury fight that took place Saturday night?
Oh man, Whew, everybody asking me about that, man. God damn. I haven't really consolidated my thoughts, man. But like, obviously, Tyson Fury did an excellent job. I think his ring IQ, like the way that he was able to adapt in the fight,
Yeah,
was crazy. But like, like as the fight was unfolding. I called it, man. Like I was telling people, I was like, man, yo, Wilder's gas himself out. Fury knows how Fury knows how to recover.
right.
Wilder don't, and that will be the difference in a fight.
Yeah,
What the Fury knows what exactly what to do in order to allow himself to recover, because they were both spent at a certain point in the fight. Was it the fourth round? I can't remember, or the whatever, but they were both spent at a certain point in the fight, but only one of them had the ability to be able to recover throughout the rest of the fight. And we know
yeah,
Fury. Fury, he can regain his energy. He's a veteran. He's a fighter. Like he has ring IQ. He has tactics. He can use his body. He can use his height. He can lean on you. He can tire you out, and he can dodge. And he's got head movement, footwork,
yeah,
so he can kind of like allow himself to recover and get his breath back. And that's exactly what Fury did, man. And he just kept the pace nice and easy and let Wilder tear himself out. And then Wilder was just spent
yeah.
in the 11th round. And that's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
So,
Like
do
he
you
just lost
think
life.
his loss is more attributed to his conditioning, his fatigueness, rather than the punishment? I mean, let's be fair, he did take a lot of punishment in that fight, but you think he lost more to him being tired out more so than
Man.
taking the
Okay, what
punishment?
I'll say is this. What I'll say is this, yeah.
Hmm.
I think that if Wilder did not put so much energy into punches in the early rounds, he would have survived 12.
I agree.
I don't know whether he would have won or not, but like
Yeah.
he definitely would have survived 12.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. He probably would have been in a much more better condition like he was in the first fight, where he was at a good weight. I know he was 212. I thought that was too light, but he was much faster. He was moving it. He was using a lot of his reflexes. He was using his athleticism, and he had a lot of energy in the tank going in 12 rounds of that fight. So I think the
Yep.
extra weight was the telling factor on how he lost the fight. I know what
Yep.
he was
I don't
worried
even know
about.
if it's the extra weight. I think it was he was just a little bit too eager, man, in the first 3 rounds or whatever. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
won
I
the
was going
first
to.
round, right? But like, he spent it looked like power punches that he was throwing into jabs and stuff. He was
Yeah,
spending.
that's the thing too. That's another thing too, because that does drain you as well. So there was a lot of contributing factors. He was putting a lot of power into his jabs and into his body shots early. I'm like, dude, you don't need to do that. You need to just touch him up,
Yeah,
score some points, because this guy's going to try to lean you and tire you out in the later rounds. He's going to try to do that. Just That's what
exactly.
Malik should have told him. Don't put a lot of power into the shots early. The guy's not going to go anywhere early. You need to touch him up. That's what you need to do. But you look, that's what he did. He had a good first round, then he got clipped at the end. I think after he got clipped, that went out the window. He kind of panicked mentally. He's like, "Oh shit, this guy clipped me again. I got to get him out now." You know, I think that's what he was.
Yeah. I mean, my analysis is like, bruh, can you guys hear me? Hold on, I can't hear you guys. 1 second.
I'm sorry.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. As I'm saying. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, look. I know Mark just dipped out. Man, shout out to Mark. But yeah, like I said, I just think that he could have. I'm not saying he could have won the fight at the end, but to your point, though, man, if he didn't waste his shots early, if he had paced himself a lot better, then he would have went 12 rounds, and he probably had a better chance of knocking out Fury at the end of the fight if he had kept the pace a lot slower. But the
Right.
problem is, he panicked. I think his whole focus was trying to get Fury out early. He wasn't training for 12 rounds from the looks of it. He wasn't. So he was trying to get him out early, and he was trying to prepare for the for the leaning and the weight and the grappling that he was going to during that fight. I mean, to be fair though, he did he did seem a little stronger like he did in the second as opposed to in the second fight. But again, it's just the endurance. He compromised himself with the endurance. His athleticism was there. He wasn't quick on his feet like he usually seen him in previous fights. So
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail on the head, man. I think in my analysis, the
mhm.
fight was about pacing. Like if he was able to keep the pace up from the first 3 or 4 rounds for the whole fight, he would win the fight. But
Yeah,
he doesn't have those attributes. He couldn't keep up that pace
yeah.
for 12 rounds fight.
Well,
But
especially with it being at 240, man. Yeah, that's not his natural weight. Especially you don't have enough leg strength underneath you to carry that weight. That's not good. That's not good. And all credit to him though, man, because that man was gone in the fourth round. As far as
bruh.
gone, he was gone, but he still managed to survive for 7 more rounds with that type of,
Spirit.
yeah.
Uh,
And at the same time, too, though he was surviving, but he was still hurting Fury at the end of those rounds, some of those rounds too.
Yep.
Catching him with some
He nearly
uppercuts.
got on the 6th or the 7th round. He nearly took Fury out again.
Yeah.
I really thought that he was, he could have took him out again, man. Like he's a dangerous. That's the thing about the Wilder, man. He's
Yeah.
dangerous every second of the fight.
Yeah.
If he catches a little win, he's dangerous.
Yeah. And it's funny though, because in the 10th round, when Fury knocked him down with the right hook, and to be fair though, Wilder was off balance when he went down because he tried to hit him with a wild left hook, and Fury ducked underneath it, and Wilder was off balance, and then Fury caught him right there. That's where the knockdown happened because it was more off balance. Not saying it hurt him, but that was more of an off balance shot. But anyhow, Wilder got up. And at the end of the round, he clipped Fury at the end in the corner, spin him around, and start throwing 5-6 punch combination on him at the end of the round. So he hurt him right there. So it's like this dude was, like I said though, he was running on fumes, man, after the 4th round, and I'm surprised that he survived that long. I'm like, wow. And I know some of the Fury fans is like, well, he carried Wilder. He carried him. I'm like, no, he didn't. Stop it. You guys are giving Fury too much credit. He did not carry that man. He tried to get him out as the best way he could. I know Sugar Hill was yelling at him. Like, why can't you get this motherfucker out of here?
Yep.
And Sugar Hill knew what was up because if the longer Wilder was in that fight, the more dangerous it became.
Yep.
So, look, like I said, though, hats off to both men. They both put up a courageous performance. Wilder, particularly, he's finally getting the respect that you probably felt that he deserves now. Some people feel that, well, he should apologize to Mark Breland. I'm like, well, look, one apology at a time. Let him, come on, let him rest up. He was a very, very, very tough fight where he took a lot of punishment, and the fact that he was so tired, he was surviving for 7 more rounds.
Let him for not shaking Fury's hand at the end. Like, it's not even that deep, man.
It's not that deep. Look, come on, man. First off, look, I don't know why people are surprised about that. We all knew that. Sorry.
It's like people don't know how it feels at that moment. So like,
well, exactly. That's what I said. Though I was going to say is like, look, he in the moment. He was in a very difficult fight. He just felt that he should have lost to him. He felt very upset, disappointed. He gave his best effort, and then he realized, look, give it a day or two, he's going to come back and realize that, you know what, I have to let this go. I did the best I could do. I gave a courageous performance. I was in there. I tried to be a warrior the best way I could be. Sometimes you have to learn to loot when your losses. You have to learn things and accept them what they are. And that's exactly what he did. He's moving on from it. He wants to continue his career. And could they fight a fourth time? I don't know. I wouldn't mind it, but not right now. Definitely not right now.
Definitely not right now.
No, but speaking of Tyson Fury, he's talking about retirement all of a sudden. I think that fight with Wilder took something out of him. What do you think? Fury?
I would say, I don't know, man. I can't really call it, to be honest. Because I've seen very heavy beatdowns, man. But Wilder's a tough guy, man. Like, they're saying that he's gonna come back in May 2022.
Yeah.
He's definitely a tough guy, but I don't know if I think if anything, it will be a psychological thing that holds him back, like in the future, not a physical thing.
No, it won't be. I think it could be psychological, but at the same time, though, if it was psychological, he could have quit in the 5th or 6th round when he was out on his feet, but he kept going. You see what I'm saying? So, could this affect him as far as his reflexes and his punch resistance? That's a possibility.
No, but will be more kind of confident, you know what I'm saying?
His confidence, yeah. Yeah, you know what? That's why it'd be best to let him come back and have a 3 confident building fights. I know a lot of people are walking around talking about saying that he should retire. Look, it's tough to say because look, I'm not comparing the two, but it kind of reminds me when Vladimir Klitschko fought, right? In his early days when he had his early run as a WBO champion. Let's not forget the man was already beaten up by Ross Purity and who else? I think Sam Peter in his first run as a WBO champion, the first fight, even though he won it, he was knocked down 3 times. But yeah, he had he was taking some punishment against guys like got knocked out by Corey Sanders, Lemon Brewster. And Vladimir how old was he at the time? He was 28, 29. So I guess he was younger. But I remember at the time when he was taking a lot of punishment in those fights, his brother Vitaly walked up into him after that Lemon Brewster fight. It told him that you need to retire, man. He felt that Vladimir didn't have it what it takes anymore, even though being at 29 or 28 at the time, But at the same time, he was taking a lot of beatings, a lot of punishment. Yeah. Been knocked out badly 3 times. Corey Sanders, Lamont Brewster, and Ross Purity. So
yeah, but at the time he was kind of young then, 28 is insane.
Yeah, he was 28, 29, but at the same time, he was already taking a lot of punishment in his previous fights. Let's not forget, Riddick Bowe was 29 or what was he? Yeah, 29 years old when he retired.
Yeah, but Wilder's been winning most of his life, and then at 34, 35, whatever age he is right now. Now,
yeah,
he got ass whipping. You know what I'm saying?
That can take a lot. Yeah, because at age, yeah, it's true. Because when you get older, your reflexes is not there anymore. Your quickness is not there anymore, and you take it back-to-back beatings like that. That definitely slows you down even further. So now, like I said, though, I guess it's not fair to compare the situation with Vladimir because Vladimir was much younger. But what I'm comparing is that Vladimir was knocked out 3 times before people were telling that when his family was telling him that he should retire 3 times. And guess what? Vladimir was 45 fights in. 45 fights in.
To be honest, man, I think to be honest, I agree with Fury, man. When he said we number 1 and number 2. I don't know, man. I don't know. You might have to throw Usyk in there, but other than that, bro, I feel like Wilder, Fury proved that he's got a chin. He took some clean shots and stayed up. These are shots that knock people out.
Well, he almost got knocked out in that 4th round. He almost got knocked out. I mean, if that round went longer, he would have not survived it. So he was lucky.
Yeah, But even after that, even after the fourth round, yeah, like he got dropped twice, right?
Yeah.
But like I think like in the later rounds, I think I don't know, what was it, the 9th or 10th? Like, wow, they got a couple of shots in, clean shots. And Fury just kind of brushed it off a little bit. So
Well, he brushed it off because Wilder didn't have much sting in those shots anymore because he was tired. He didn't have his legs
yeah,
under. Yeah,
arguably.
so he's able to walk through them now. Because if you don't have
Yeah,
your legs, you can't put no mustard into those shots. And to be fair, though, even though Wilder didn't have those much mustard in those shots, he was still able to sting Fury a little bit too, especially in the 10th round
yeah,
at the end of it.
and
He
and
stung
and
him.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I feel like a lot of other fighters wouldn't be able to, like, they would have been knocked out. They would have
Yeah,
been lost, bro.
yeah.
Like,
I'll be honest with you. I think AJ would have been knocked out in that fight. If
man.
he would have been knocked out. Andy Ruiz probably definitely been knocked out. Usyk, if he caught Usyk, yeah, I don't know if Usyk could survive that punch. The Usyk got a chin, but has he been hit that hard before? No, I haven't seen him get hit that hard before. So we'll see. But anyways, like I said though, I remember Vladimir was in the same position. He continued to have like a string of wins. He had a 10-year reign as a champion and he became an all-time great. So could Wilder do the same thing at 35? It's hard to say. I'm not saying he's going to have a long run like Vladimir did, but he could rebound. I'm saying he could recover, but we have to see how does he look mentally? How does he look physically? Will he be able to regain his form after 2 back-to-back losses that were bad losses? I would say, beating wise, physically. So we'll see, man. We'll see how that plays out, man. I have to say though, man. Speaking of AJ, do you think AJ should step aside, allow Fury and Usyk to fight for the undisputed title?
Definitely. No, definitely. I don't think he's gonna get. I mean, listen, financially, bro, it really doesn't matter if you rematch Usyk and lose again, or like you just beat the winner of Fury and Usyk. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Like feel like financially, it will be better if he waited until the outcome of Usyk and Fury and then fought them and redeemed himself.
Right. I mean, look, I agree because I'm being consistent here. I'm not sure if you heard me say this, but when Wilder took that loss, his first loss to Tyson Fury late last year, early last year in February 2020, right? I said that it would be terrible for Wilder to go back in the media rematch against Fury. Okay, I felt that he needed to let Fury go ahead and do what he needs to do with that title, and then come back to him when he's ready. You know what I mean? He needs to make some changes. He needs to adapt to a different style. He needs to do these. I think he needs a confident building fight. But at the same time, he is legally within his right to invoke the rematch clause and pursue the rematch. Then that's on him. Same thing with Joshua. He's in with his legal right to do it. But I just feel that both fighters, well, Joshua could suffer the same fate too. I just don't honestly see him winning the rematch against Usyk. I really don't. Especially in 6 months and you're trying to get him to change it to a different style to beat him. That's not going to work against guys like Usyk. And this is not an Andrew Ruiz situation where you be able to catch a guy who's not disciplined enough to win fights. You know what I mean? Who'll be eating burgers and chicken and burritos all day. No disrespect, but all those fatty foods and not trained for a fight. You know what I mean? Especially a guy who's slow footed, doesn't have that much head movement. He's got the hand speed, but you could beat him by outboxing him. Joseph Parker showed that in their first fight. You know what I mean? In their fight when he fought Andy Ruiz. But
Yeah.
anyhow, like I said, Joshua. Let's not forget he took a beating in that Usyk fight, especially at the end of that fight where he nearly got stopped. So
You know
I
what the
don't,
thing about the
I don't.
Joshua fight is? It's like I agree, right, that he should just step aside and let Fury and Usyk fight, right? But at the same time, I'm not so sure that he would lose a rematch in against Usyk, because I felt like watching that last round, yeah, in that 12th round, yeah, I felt like he was kind of learning something, because if you like watch the clip in slow mo, like
Uh-huh.
he was kind of like even though he could only see through one eye and he was on the ropes, he was dodging Usyk's final punches in a way that like I've never seen him dodge before, and it seemed like he was learning in that exact moment, I don't know, man. Maybe my eyes, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping, but like I thought I saw something in that final moment where Usyk is supposedly said to have nearly knocked him out. I felt like AJ was really actually kind of rolling the punches kind of well.
Yeah, he was. To be
You
fair,
know?
he was from the from the front angle of the blows
Yeah,
of the shots. But if
yeah.
you look at the
The
different angles, they
sideline
did.
was a bit
Yeah, if you
worse.
look at the side angle, those are totally different. He actually was rolling with them, but he was getting caught at the same time. So it was a mixture of both. So I guess the difference is that he wasn't getting caught flush, other than I think the one of the left short left hooks that Usyk threw at him that really backed him to the ropes. So yeah, but at the same time, I think what he was, I mean, it was a mixture of everything what happened to him that night. He was hurt and he was
Yeah,
tired. He lost. He ran out of gas.
yeah.
So the thing is that's the
I
thing about
think
Usyk.
like, he just had the wrong strategy. Like you are not gonna beat Usyk, right? Like outboxing him or trying to outlast him. This guy is somebody who trains fights 15 rounds in like low oxygen difficulty. He's not running out of steam
Yeah,
in a 12 round fight. In
exactly. He's not
normal
going to do
temperature.
that. And the thing
It's not
too, that's the
happening.
thing about Usyk. He uses your best weakness, your greatest weaknesses against you. And Joshua's one of his greatest weaknesses is endurance.
Yeah.
The thing is, until people say that he should come in at 250, he should maul Usyk like Fury did Wilder. I'm like, no, two different fighters. First of all, Wilder's more stationary. Number one, number two, Wilder doesn't really move his head as much as Usyk does. Yeah, Wilder may be a little bit more athletic than Usyk, but at the same time, Usyk is more crafty. He's a southpaw. He's athletic. He can punch. He can fight in different angles. I mean, this is a very tricky fighter here you're dealing with. This man's fought big men for majority of his career, especially in the amateurs, a la Joe Joyce.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
this is a different animal you're dealing with here. In fact, Eddie Hearn even knew this too before he made the fight. He was trying. I think he was trying to talk Joshua out of it. He was trying to tell him, "Look, don't take this fight." Eddie didn't want this fight for Joshua. He told him, "Don't take it." But Joshua, fighting man's like, you know what? If I vacate the belt, Eddie, I'm going to get criticized for that. And I don't want to deal with that. You know.
Yep. Yep.
So look, props to Joshua. He's going back in there against Usyk, but 6 months time, nah, man, that's not enough time. I think he needs more than that to prepare for a guy like Usyk, especially if you want to change your style. But to do that, you got to get rid of Robert McCracken. Though, why do you still have him in there?
Oh man, yeah, nah, that's true, man. I mean, like he's the limitations of Robert McCracken is has shown.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. And the fact is, too, this is a guy who got beat badly by Keith Holmes, a southpaw, and for the middleweight title many years ago. So come on, man. Don't look. If you're gonna beat Usyk, you got to change your team.
he
At least
needs
with
to.
Wilder. Wilder,
With,
here's the thing. Wilder understood that going into the Fury rematch. Say what you will about Mark Breland. I didn't like the way Wilder handled that situation with Mark Breland. I get it. But Wilder understood that he needed to make some changes. He needed to get a new coach if he had any shot of winning that rematch against Fury. Hey, he almost won the rematch. He almost came close, but it is what it is. But the fact is, if you have any shot to win that rematch, you got to change your team, man. You got to get rid of McCracken. McCracken can only take you so far. As you pointed out, limitations that are shown in AJ style with Marvin McCracken. Robert McCracken's style is not going to beat Alexander Usyk. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
listen, like AJ needs to get with a coach that can teach him how to cut the ring off, man. Like if you can't cut the ring off against Usyk, like you're never gonna pin him down and be able to punch him and knock him out. Like it's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's what you need to be able to do in order to do enough damage to this guy to beat him.
Right. I agree, and I think too. I think what it is too, just like Wilder and AJ. See, this is why I like making these comparisons between. I'm sorry, comparisons between Wilder and AJ because they're so similar in these ways as far as their habits is concerned. They both made a lot of money. They're both top earners in the heavyweight division, right? And they just don't want to get out of their comfort zone when it comes to training. Because like Wilder, he was training pretty much in his home backyard. You know, if you look at his compound in Alabama, it's huge, but it's surrounded with a lot of woods and trees and all that stuff. yeah, you could say that's a perfect area to go train, but that's like literally, like at his home. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you have AJ who doesn't really, I mean, technically he travels, like 2 hours away to go train, whatever, but he's training with a lot of amateur fighters, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's training with the amateur system. I'm like, what? And he's training in England. I'm like, why did he go train somewhere else, like where they could go into like far altitude areas where he can work on his
I
endurance?
think it's because last time he trained in LA, he got concussed and.
You mean in
But
Miami? He
rumor has it he got concussed and lost to Ruiz. That's why he lost to Ruiz.
well, we all know who did that. That was Joey DeWeco. But you mean Miami? Yeah, he trained in Miami. I mean, to
Yeah,
be fair,
man.
that's fair because Miami is, it's right next, not saying next to New York, but
Yeah, so I think
flying
they got
flying
scared
distance
and
wise,
then
about two
reverted
hours
back
away.
to
Sorry.
yeah. So I think they just got scared and was like, man, listen, you're gonna train in England, you're gonna get in tip top shape, and then you're gonna go out there and fight.
Yeah,
Like
that's
this.
probably what it is. But I think that's what I think AJ's worried about. If he gets a new trainer, then he's got to learn a new style, and he knows that he may not have enough time to adapt to a new style going to Usyk fight. At least with Wilder, he had a whole year and a half to adapt to a new style. See what I'm saying? Learn some new things. But AJ, he's only got 6 months, and he probably says, you know what? Even if I get a new trainer, I'm not going to learn new things in 6 months against a guy like Alexander Usyk. I'm also going to stick to what I have and to see if I can make some adjustments there. But
Yeah,
but that's why it's like when people say that he needs to gain 250 pounds, he needs to gain 10 more pounds so he can maul Usyk and use his strength. Problem is that that's a terrible mistake because if he does that, he's going to get knocked out early. I'm telling you that right now. He's
no,
going to
I
get knocked
agree.
out early.
I agree. He's gonna get knocked out. Man. He won't be able to move. He won't be able to and he ain't got the best chin. Like we all know, like he's kind of chinny, man. So like if he's a sitting duck, that's the worst mistake he can make because Usyk will just be able to even if he ain't got the one punch knockout power, he can knock him out by accumulation.
Exactly. He can hurt him. That's the thing. And that's what I tell people. First of all, there's people who were after the fight were complaining, the fanboys of AJ and saying, well, he should have came in at 250. He should have mauled Usyk. I'm like, well, you do understand that he weighed 240 in his last 3 fights. So now all of a sudden weight's a problem. I don't get it. Number two, he outweighed Usyk about close to 20 pounds. So why is the weight the issue? Why is
Yeah.
his weight an issue all of a sudden? If you want him to come at 250, he's going to get knocked out early. He would have got knocked out early if he did because he would have been tired out. He wouldn't be able to get out of the way of Usyk's punches. Amir just left, so it is what it is. All right, guys. I want to give a shout out to Amir and Rival Mark for coming in, and I said my piece. I hope everybody's enjoying the NAVARATTE fight. I'm about to get off. I got to go ahead and do some things with my wife. Shout out to the chat. Oh, Amir, you just got back. Okay. There you are, man.
Oh my bad, man. I dropped out.
It's all good. Hey, Amala says that AJ coming at 250, yeah, he'll run out of gas. Yeah, he would, man. I mean, that's a terrible mistake. If he comes in over 240, man, he's gonna get knocked out. I'm sorry. Don't do it. Stay at 240, maybe less than a little bit under 240. That's the way he should need to be at. Don't come in over that. You're not going to over maul Usyk. You're not going to do it. That's just not going to happen. Being real.
Yeah.
You're not going to maul that guy. So, yeah, man, that's the way I see it. But hey, speaking of that, AJ and Wilder, how do you see that fight playing out if they were to fight now?
Man, I don't know. I think the water that showed up last time, man, he would knock the AJ that I saw last time showing out.
Yeah.
He would knock the flying hell out of him.
Yeah, it's a more winnable fight for Wilder because AJ is stationary. He does, and Wilder's got the height advantage over him too. So
Yeah.
he's got the
But
reach advantage over him. So that's a more winnable fight for him. And AJ
yeah,
is a little bit more stationary.
yeah, definitely. But I will say that I think that AJ's got a better chance against Fury than Wilder though.
Oh, why you say that?
Cause I mean, like Wilder is a skinny kind of guy, right? And he's
Yeah,
like a
gangly.
kind
Yeah.
of guy, right? And it's like he was kind of winning the first. He was up on my scorecard anyway until like the 5-6 round or something like that. Or so if you're losing on points to Wilder, right? For me, AJ is like he's shown the capability to be agile against Andy Ruiz too.
Yeah.
In Andy Ruiz too, he's also got punching power. You know, it's not one punch knockout like Wilder, but like he can throw combinations, and I think that's exactly what you need to kind of clip Fury. You know, Fury, you know, he can dodge you a little projected one punch or whatever.
Right.
Like I don't know if he's got the head movement necessarily to dodge these combinations that will go to the body, especially with somebody that's shorter than him. It'll body. It never because AJ is kind of like he's what 2-3 inches shorter than him,
Yeah.
or 3 or 4 inches. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, AJ's about as far as Fury's concerned, yeah, he's about AJ's about 6'6" or 6'5", I think. And
yeah, and I think the body is the most effective route to go against a person like
Fury.
Fury, right? And Fury, I don't think he'll be able to knock out AJ as easily as he was able to knock out Wilder. I think he knocked out Wilder a combination of fatigue, weight difference, and also just punishment. You know, but AJ will be he's kind of trained himself to be able to go that longer distance, being more active than Wilder was. You know what I mean? So that's just I think he's got a better shot. He probably will still lose. He'll probably still lose, but I don't know, man. I do think he's got a better chance at what I think because you know just styles make fights.
Yeah, that's a good point. Styles definitely make fights. I mean, that would be a good, very interesting triangle theory. I mean, AJ has a better shot at beating Fury, but he doesn't really have a much of a. I mean, not say much of a shot. He probably has a better chance of winning against Fury than he does against Wilder. But you know, maybe Tyson Fury is right. Deontay Wilder would beat everybody else in the heavyweight division except for me. He's probably right because if you look at it stylistically, Wilder, I think he beats AJ. I think he beats Joshua and Ruiz definitely. As far as Dillon White, definitely because I think Dillon White is too slow. He throws wild punches just like Wilder, but Wilder is more accurate with his punches and he's quicker than Dillon. He's shorter, and Dillon is he's like 6'3", 6'4". No, Dillon's 6'4", and he's got a shorter arm reach than Wilder. So yeah, that's Wilder's fight right there. Definitely tailor made for him. That style, Dillon's style. So
yeah, I'll be in the Dillon White versus Fury. Like I want to see like can Fury stop Dillon or knock Dillon out? If he doesn't, then that would give more credit. Then I'd be more kind of certified in thinking that AJ would have a way better chance against him. But if he did stop Dillon, then I'll be like, man, AJ got no chance.
Yeah, I think Eddie Hearn. That's the thing because Eddie Hearn was look at that fight closely. If Dillon gets stopped and get beaten badly, he ain't putting AJ near Fury. No, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not putting you against this guy. Nah, forget that. But who knows if Fury's gonna fight Dillon White because now he's talking about retirement all of a fucking sudden. I'm like, okay, he ain't thinking about Dillon White right now. He ain't thinking about no fights because he knew what he went through that Saturday. He could have got knocked out. He took a lot of big shots. So he's like, nah, man, I got out of that one with my hide. So I'm not thinking about no fights right now.
No, that's the thing, and I agree with what I heard you say earlier about like you know like Fury's not an all-time great. He's not an all-time great. Come on, like he beat Wilder, right? Who was not really like most people didn't rate Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Like Americans rated him. A couple people rated him outside of America and stuff like that, but. Like a lot of people didn't really rate him, like because who did he fight other than Ortiz and
Estavern and maybe you could throw Duopa in Brazil in there. Yeah, but other than that, Wilder doesn't have the greatest heavyweight resume. Let's be real, he doesn't. I mean, but he still was he was still rated very high, and he was elite. He is an elite heavyweight. We can't take that away from him.
Of course.
But I mean,
Fury,
go ahead.
Fury beat that guy, and he also beat Klitschko, but then he ducked the rematch, and I think he would have lost the rematch anyway. But
Yeah.
but if Klitschko let his hands go, he would have won that fight. But anyway, he didn't do that. Anyway, that's hypothetical, right? So
Yeah.
all he's really beaten is Klitschko and Wilder a couple of times, or maybe 3 times, arguably, right?
Right.
And he's got dropped what, like
4
5,
times.
6 times between
Yeah.
the.
He got dropped 4 times in those 3 fights. 4 times.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so he's not an all-time great by any means, you know.
mhm.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. I think I'm still not really convinced. I think he's the best out of this current crop,
Right.
but
That does not make him an all-time great. Forget
yeah,
that. Don't.
yeah,
And I told him straight up, he has not had a better heavyweight run than Anthony Joshua. I don't give a damn what anybody say. He doesn't. Now, if you want to rate him above Joshua right now, fair enough, because Joshua's been on a bit of a slide, but that doesn't mean he had a better heavyweight run than him. Okay. So, and I don't. I'm sorry. I don't care. I'm not hurt. I don't. If I hurt the Fury fanboys' feelings about it, I'm telling the truth. There's no goddamn way that man can sit there and say that I have nothing left to prove. Oh, get the fuck out of here, man. You ducked out of a rematch with Vladimir. You got that win. You got 2 wins over Wilder, and you're gonna call it a career all of a sudden? Man, get the
Come
fuck out of here. You only have
on.
4. You only have 4 title fights out of 3 wins out of a 30 fight career, 30
Yeah,
plus fight career.
right. And
Get the
exactly. And now he's thinking about retiring.
yeah. Yeah, man. Please, that's a fucking joke. And I'm surprised that these Fury fanboys are actually defending that.
Yeah. Nah, honestly, man, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I mean, for them to bring up the Muhammad Ali conspiracy, that's what threw me over the edge. That threw me over the edge. That's
What,
fucking ridiculous.
what did they say? I didn't even hear that.
They say he's the modern day Muhammad Ali, some of them. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh no! Oh hell no! Hell no! hell no!
Yeah.
Hell no!
Yeah. Hey,
Like,
hey, man. I got what's up?
Wilder, you fought in the last 3 years. Wilder, like that's it. Like
Yeah.
you're saying, Wilder was the gateway to being Muhammad
No.
Ali status. Like, come on, man.
Well, this fool talking about he may fight Wilder a 4th time before he yeah. He said this too. He said he might fight him 4th time before he calls it a career. Don't be surprised if that actually happens. If Fury takes some time off and then he waits for a while, then he'll wait for Wilder to get his stride back and then fight him for 4th time. Don't be surprised because that's exactly what Leonard and Hearns did, and Duran did, and Hagler did when they all fought each other. Exactly what they did back in the 80s. To be fair, they were fighting other people too, but for the most part, for the big money fights, they kept it amongst each other. So, yeah, I'm looking at that fight with NAVARATTE and Gonzalez. Hey, man, I got to get off here. I got to get going. My wife is calling me. So, hey, man, hey, good talking to you, man. You need to come on here more often, all right? Yep. Can't hear you. Oh, you're off. All right, guys, I'm going to dip up out of here. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.